Morning, good morning. Come on in, come on in. Okay, so far they're about 20 minutes into the trial. So we've given ourselves a nice little buffer. I did peek ahead to see who's up first. It's a gentleman named Joe Matz who works with Waste Pro. Oh, sorry, I was getting a weird call, and it always pushes it through to my Mac. Sorry about that. Good morning, Shay. I have a little bit of the giggles because I just scrolled across something frightening on YouTube that took my breath away. But I digress. I'm gonna go ahead and start it up. I don't even know what witness we're on because I wasn't streaming yesterday. Okay, I'm gonna figure that out so I won't have a banner up. The last witness I put in my ticker was the 22nd witness. Okay, I'll figure that out while we start streaming. Mr. Joe Max.
Jurors and sworn.
Good morning. Yeah, but I think there was there was one in front of her that I didn't count either, Shay. I gotta figure that out. Morning, hippie. Morning, laundry. The coral tie and Wade Wilson.
All right, thank you, Williams.
Don't smile.
Please have a seat. And good morning, welcome back. We're gonna launch right in. Of course, I have to ask you the question, has anybody read any news media, observed any news media, watched any TV shows, talked with anyone about the case, allowed anyone to talk with you about the case?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, and with that, then we are going to begin. I'll turn to the state.
State calls Joe Matz.
The evidence you shall give the court and jury in the trial of this issue should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Step this way, please.
All right, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Good morning. My name is Joe Matz. I'm the division manager for Waste Pro.
And how do you spell your last name, sir?
It is M-A-T-Z.
What is Waste Pro?
Waste Pro is a solid waste hauling company. You pick up trash, basically.
And you said you're a division manager or the division manager?
The division manager.
Which division?
My division is located in South Carolina, but we oversee parts of Georgia.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Specifically Savannah and the surrounding areas.
And so where do you work on a day-to-day basis? Where's your office?
It's in Hardyville, South Carolina.
And you mentioned that you all service the Savannah area.
Yes, sir.
Tell me how that works. What is involved in being a solid waste hauling company?
Yeah, so obviously we have trash trucks that go out into the community on a daily basis from a residential aspect, from a commercial aspect, and then from a construction aspect. So we collect garbage at different, for example, residential homes, commercial businesses, and then construction sites.
What kind of different trucks do you all run?
So we have rear loaders, which are residential trucks where men are on the back of the truck. We have trucks called ASLs, which...
That is a toupee, isn't it? AMAC. Okay, I was like, he's got a little, I mean, no shame, no shame. If I was a dude going bald, I'd probably do something similar myself, but I was looking at it and I was like, what is different here? Yep, it's a toupee.
They're automated side loaders, which the arm comes out and picks up the trash. Then we have commercial trucks that basically go behind 7-Elevens, they pick up the bin, dump the bin, put the bin back down, and go away. And then we have trucks that service construction sites. They're long boxes that we pick up and take to the landfill.
Now, I'd like to draw your attention to the days following October 5th, 2022. At some point, you were contacted by Randall Noble of the Chatham County Police Department.
Yes, sir.
Prior to being contacted by him, had you heard anything of the disappearance of Quentin Simon?
No, sir.
Okay, so Randall Noble was the first you heard about this.
Yes, sir.
And did he ask you whether you could identify which Waste Pro truck had serviced the dumpsters at Azalea Mobile Home Plaza in Savannah on the morning of October 5th, 2022?
Yes, he did.
And were you able to tell him that information?
Yes, sir.
How did you do that?
So every day, the drivers are assigned route sheets. And so we go into our database, look up Azalea Mobile Home Park, for example. It will tell us what driver, what route he is on that day.
And did Detective Noble also ask you whether you could tell him where that truck had gone after servicing the dumpsters at Azalea Mobile Home Plaza?
Yes, sir.
And were you able to tell him that?
Yes, sir.
How were you able to tell him that?
Our trucks are equipped with GPS system. So basically, any stop that they go to, we have what's called these little breadcrumbs from the GPS. So breadcrumb will, once we identify the truck, it will show us where the truck is at a specific time and then where it goes throughout the whole day.
Now, if you can do this from memory, I'll ask you. If not, we can just get right into the documents. Do you remember what truck it was that had serviced those dumpsters that morning?
Yes, sir.
What truck was it?
It was 3909.
And who was the driver of that truck?
The driver is Tawan Lee.
Chuan Lee,
Yes.
TWAN?
Yes, sir.
What type of truck was it that serviced those dumpsters?
It's a commercial truck.
By which you mean, you described the various types earlier. What do you mean by that exactly?
So the commercial trucks, again, they're the ones that pick up the smaller containers. The truck will dump it. At that time, once the truck services the equipment, the container gets put back in place. The driver will then compact the load, smashing its contents, and then move forward to the next stop, or in this particular case, the landfill.
When you were describing how this particular truck works, you sort of extended your arms out in front of you. Are you referring to the front loading type that slides arms into the slots on the side of a dumpster and lifts it up and back?
That is correct.
Okay. And you mentioned a compactor in the truck. Can you describe that?
Yeah, so all trash trucks have compactors in them, whether residential or commercial. The reason for the compaction is obviously that from a productivity standpoint, we want to pick up as many stops as we can. So the trucks are operated through hydraulics. And once the trash is in the body of the truck, the compactor is pushed, and then it pushes back and just condenses the load so that we're able to maximize the load.
Can you tell us anything about how powerful the compactor might have been in truck 3909? I understand you're a division manager, not an engineer, but I wonder if you know.
Well, the compaction ratio, quite honestly, I couldn't give you 120 pounds per square, foot or whatever per pressure, but it will smash everything in the unit, including wood, glass, whatever's in there will be smashed.
You've talked.
Oh, it's just heartbreaking. Like, we know, we watched enough stuff pre-trial and enough stuff throughout this trial to know the horrific journey that Quentin's body went through, but just hearing it again, it's just, it tugs on me. Oh, she's not on yet. Yeah. I figure most people though are kind of glued to Boone this morning. I don't blame them. If I was into that trial, I probably would be as well. So I don't blame anyone at all.
And there will be smashed.
Okay. You've talked about being able to tell Detective Noble that it was truck 3909. It was driven by Chuan Lee, and being able to tell him where that truck had went after servicing those dumpsters on the morning of October 5th at Azalea. I don't know whether I've asked you this. Where did that truck go after that?
It went to the landfill,
Which landfill would that be?
Superior Landfill.
Is that the one off Little Neck Road?
It is the one off Little Neck Road.
Okay. And what did it do there? Perhaps it's obvious, but I'll ask you.
Yeah, so when the trucks arrive at the landfill, they're scaled going in for the weight. And then as they go up to the landfill, they'll go up to the face of the landfill. They're directed to dump their load in a particular spot. Once that truck is empty, it will go back down. It's weighed out. We receive a ticket for the time and also how many tons were on that particular load.
Okay. And they get that by I guess, subtracting the known weight of the truck from the weight of the truck and it entered with all the trash or something.
Correct.
Were you able to provide Detective Noble with any documentation of these things that you've been talking about, the route sheet and GPS printout and so forth?
Yes, sir.
Do you see in front of you a document marked as States Exhibit 65?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize that document?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what it is?
So this is his daily route sheet that he fills out prior to the start of the day and then at the end of the day.
Now, are these records that are created in the ordinary course of business?
Yes, sir.
And are they maintained in the ordinary course of business?
Yes, sir.
In fact, that's why you were able to produce it for Detective Noble.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I would introduce this as States Exhibit 65.
No objection, Your Honor.
Now, do you see in front of you a document marked as States Exhibit 66?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
And what is it?
So that's our GPS tracking system with the breadcrumbs on it.
Is that also a document that's created and maintained in the ordinary course of business?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I would introduce this as States Exhibit 66.
No objection, Your Honor.
And may I publish these exhibits, Your Honor?
Yes.
All right. Can you see the screen all right from where you're at?
Pretty much.
There's my,
Oh.
I don't know whether
I-
that one's better for you.
I can see that.
Sorry, I don't have
Do you
any
mind, if you prefer to
answers
stay seated, let me.
to the Boone questions because I have not followed it at all. But definitely head over to Jen Lou's and she could answer that for you about her taking the stand or like being shown on the stand or not.
That one's better for you.
I can see that.
Do you mind, if you prefer to stay seated, let me know, but would you mind just stepping down and kind of walking us through these different entries on here and what they mean?
Sure. So again, this is just says that this is Route 405, indicating that that's Taiwan Lee's Wednesday route. Worker is Taiwan Lee here. Role as the driver. Punch-in time is 1:33 a.m. in the morning. You start really early. You also note what time you left the yard. It's 1:45.
Is WP yard there? What does WPYD mean?
Waste Row Yard.
Yeah, just like where the trucks sit when they're not being used.
It's the facility, yes.
Okay.
And then this is what time he arrives back at the facility. And then this is his punch-out time.
Okay. Let me move down and see what the next thing we want to talk about is, okay? In this box here, these first two entries here where it says destination sub, does that refer to Superior Landfill?
It does.
Can you walk us through these two lines here?
Yeah, so again, it just pretty much tells what vehicle it is for the day, tells what kind of truck it is, the destination, obviously, Superior Landfill. If we were to go to any other landfill, it would be marked as such. The date, obviously, the material is commercial, not residential, like I spoke before. These are just the weights of the truck, the tonnage that was on the truck, and then these are arrival times to the fill.
So how many times did this truck go to Superior Landfill that day?
So he went twice.
And what were the two times for those stops?
So the 6:25 in the morning, left at 6:35, and then here at Superior at 10:12 and then 10:32.
Can we take from that simply that part of the way through his list of stops, the truck was full and needed to be emptied or something along those lines?
Right, correct. So he starts early in the morning. So
Okay.
by the time the landfill is open, he's full. So that explains the first one. The second one is we don't want to start off the following day with a loaded truck. So he may not go back with as many tons. And exactly in this particular case, he only had 4.37 tons on him, but the truck needed to be emptied that day.
I see. Now, starting on top of page 2 here, is this just the list of places that he was servicing that day?
That is correct.
And are these in order from first to last?
Yes.
I'd like to scroll down to the last entry. What does the last entry reflect on this route sheet?
That's the Alien Mobile Home Park.
In the This column quantity there, what does that refer to?
That refers to the number of containers that are at a stop.
All right, so what does that 5 mean there then?
That means that there were 5 separate individual containers.
And that he serviced them all?
Yes.
Now moving to States Exhibit 66. It's maybe a little hard to make out, at least it is for me from here, but can you just walk us through what this is?
Oh, before he does that, could you, if it was the last stop for that driver, if they just wouldn't have picked it up, law enforcement would have found him there in those dumpsters. It's just, but I still think it was definitely divine intervention that they found him in the landfill. That is so rare in a landfill search. So it's just heartbreaking. The whole series of events is heartbreaking.
At least it is for me from here, but can you just walk us through what this is?
Again, these are just basically the GPS system tracking the truck. So you can see where he's at his last stop, and then the breadcrumbs will just follow down to the landfill. And it tracks it over to the landfill.
Okay, so he's at Azalea Mobile Home Plaza at about 9:45 or so, and then is it the landfill sometime shortly thereafter?
Correct.
And at that point, if Quentin Simon was in those dumpsters,
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
I'll just withdraw, Your Honor.
Okay.
One moment, please.
Superman's already sick of sassy pants today. It's gonna be an interesting day, y'all.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may have a seat. Is there any cross-examination?
There is, Judge. Thank you. Mr. Knights, how are you this morning, sir?
Doing well, sir.
I'm going to ask you, do you still have a copy of States Exhibit 65 in front of you? If you don't, I can provide you a copy.
I do, sir.
I was curious. There's a handwritten note on the top of that says 10-5, correct?
Yes, sir.
And down in the body next to the destination, but before the material in the middle of the page, it says July 6th, 2022. Well, what's the discrepancy here?
To be perfectly honest, I don't know what the 10.5 would be. I just know what the 10.6 would be.
All right. And okay, can I approach for a second?
Sure.
Sure. Can you show me the 10.6 that you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
All right, on the second page.
Yes.
That's his
Correct?
best look.
Yes. All right. So which
His
10.6
best
are you
look right
referring to?
here.
I see a 7.6, but I don't see a 10.6 here.
It's also the second time he's worn it. Not that we're counting or anything, but I wouldn't repeat my wardrobe in a trial, but who the fuck am I?
It's gonna misprint.
All right. Is it safe to say that these are accurate records for July 6th of 2022 based on everything except for the handwritten note at the top?
No, what this could have been is when typically they put this into the system. So the Wednesday generation would be 7/6, but the actual date that they're operating off of, because the route sheets don't change. So when you put them in, they pretty much stay in the system. So this would tell me that this was entered in on 7/6, but not the route sheet for 7/6.
Yeah, but you just testified that this was the route on 10-5, and that's not what your business records say. There's a serious discrepancy, don't you think?
Well, I think there's a discrepancy in basically the date that these were put into the system, but not the route sheet. This route sheet is particular for that date.
Okay, but not based upon the writing that's on your own records, correct?
That would appear so.
So let's go ahead and talk about the actual collection, the route itself, okay? So the route that this particular driver takes, how long has Mr. Lee been working for you at this point in time?
Mr. Lee has been working with us since about March or April of 4/22.
Okay, so March or April of 2022?
Yes.
So about 6 months. Is
Yes,
that a
sir.
fair estimate?
Yes, sir.
And let's just run through State's Exhibit. The route starts at GSU, correct?
Yes, sir.
And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, at least 11 pickups on the Georgia Southern campus, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and there can be it looks to me, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, it looks to me like they're all single dumpsters with just one double dumpster pickup, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that's on the south side of Savannah, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then it looks like the next pickup is on a Geechee Road. Is that correct?
What page are you on?
I'm on the, here, I'm on the page, top of page 3.
Right. Right here.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, I mean, are these going in order, or is there a set route that would minimize use of gas?
Typically, they're in order, but the driver, depending on what's happening for the day, if there is an accident or some form of obstruction, he may have to veer off, pick up something different, but come right back to the route.
So at least based upon this, starts on the south side at Georgia Southern, goes over to Geechee Road. The next one, it looks like it's a, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Herstand Hall, which probably is a SCAD pickup, if I'm not mistaken, downtown, right? On Martin Luther King?
It doesn't indicate whether it's SCAD or not, but I'm assuming that's SCAD, yes, sir.
I don't know either. I'm making that assumption just based on what it looks, but it's like there's 3 pickups there. Then it's Dollar General, Shop and Go, G&H, downtown, York Street, Potter Hall, or Petter Hall, I'm sorry, an apartment building, SCAD, Shop and Go, Atwell's, downtown, Checkers, the bank. Then it goes out Abercorn. And I assume all of this is happening during the course of the night, correct?
Correct.
So it's a number of stops, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said it's a commercial truck. So again, my understanding is it has 2 of those big things that come out the front, forks, comes out, goes in, picks up, dumps it in the back, and then sets it down, pulls out, and goes to the next one, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just want to make sure it's the right equipment. So there were no.
Listen, Shambles, he is serious in his own mind, that is absolutely for sure. But the rest of us often wonder what the heck he's talking about.
I just want to make sure it's the right equipment. So there were a number of stops. How many stops are in a normal route?
It varies from day to day. On this particular day, he had a total of 56 stops.
Okay. And it's 72 total containers
Yes, sir.
and over 500 total yards of trash, correct?
Correct.
And was this encompassing both sets of routes or just his one early route?
Both routes. I mean, both sets of it during the loads. If you're speaking load wise, it encompasses both loads.
Okay.
Route,
And
Lord Farquhar, route.
let's talk about the
Roots are on a
GPS
tree.
route. States Exhibit 66. This is not the entire route. This is not the entire GPS history for the truck for this particular day, is it?
No, sir.
Okay. This is just it was like a portion of it. And I can't make it out, but I'm going to assume it looks like it's just a portion going down a Geechee Road, then out a Geechee Road, then over to, it looks like the landfill, if I'm not mistaken. Does that seem like a good summation?
That is correct.
Okay. And it doesn't have any of these other routes that I just discussed.
No, sir.
But you're saying that this does, right?
Yeah, particularly, I mean, he would follow this route.
So there were how many stops on a Geechee Road that you're aware of or near a Geechee Road?
I'm not aware of, I mean, I would have to look at his document and study it. I'm not familiar with every stop that every driver services.
And I assume that every place on a Geechee Road doesn't necessarily use y'all, does it?
That's correct.
Okay. There are other waste companies that service those areas, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And with regard to the dump, I assume you're not the only company that uses the dump either, right?
No, sir.
I assume that, and I'll ask, how many dumps are there in Savannah for commercial waste?
The only one that we use is Superior. So I'm not sure in Savannah if there's any other landfills that some private companies operate.
Okay. To the best of your knowledge, are there any other landfills?
In Savannah?
Yes.
No, sir.
So is it safe to say that pretty much all the commercial trash collected by all the different companies go to the same landfill and get deposited in the same place, to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
That's all the questions I got. Thank you.
I'd like to ask you a couple questions, see if we can clarify this date thing, okay?
I get what he's doing with the reasonable doubt. It's just a miss for me with him. What do you guys think? That was not me coughing. It was someone in the court.
In this block here, where
Hey, Carol.
we have notations about when this truck went to the landfill that day, the date typed in here is July 6, 2022, right?
Correct.
Okay. You said something on cross-examination about how that would have been the day that this route sheet was created, but then the route sheets don't change. Can you explain what you mean by that, just to make it as clear as we possibly can?
Yes. So we typically, and when I'm looking at this, what this probably tells me is that there was a reroute that took place. And so whoever was inputting that route, the total in totality on that route, put that into the system that day. But it will spit out every Wednesday the same route sheet that obviously is here.
And then the driver uses that existing route sheet, making notations with like a pen on it on future days, right?
Correct.
And this is the version that Twan Lee used on October 5th.
Correct.
Let me just draw your attention to one thing in particular. In other words, well, let me ask you this. How many blanks does this route sheet have for stops at the landfill? I mean, not how many notations, but how many blanks are there?
For this particular here?
Yeah.
Well, typically the drivers only pick up 2 loads. Very rarely that they would pick up 3, but there would be obviously room for 1 more if he took a load to the landfill.
Okay. And in terms of when this route sheet says that he got to the landfill for the second time, what does it say there on October 5th?
It says that he got there at 10:12.
Now,
That's true,
going to
Brain. I do say
State
Route
66,
66.
if we compare that to the GPS printout from October 5th, what does that say?
It says 10:12.
All right, so those are in alignment, right?
Yes.
And this is the route sheet that was used on October 5th of 2022.
Correct.
No further questions, Ryan.
I was just curious, Mr. Max, since Mr. Dean was talking about what's in alignment and what's not. On State's Exhibit 65, oh, sorry, thought I had it turned on. On State's Exhibit 65, I was wondering, there are a lot of hand-marked things on it, but you said that you believe that the 7/6 date was input because there was some change to the route. Right?
Correct.
Okay. And
Oh, he fixed it.
do you know what that change was?
Well, what I'm assuming is that, so
No, I mean, what I'm asking is if you particularly know. Do you know if there was a change or not, or are you just speculating?
I would be speculating.
And the same thing here, that whenever you're relying on these records from your computer at your office, I'm going to assume you weren't riding with Mr. Lee that day, correct?
That's correct.
So all you can do is rely on these records, correct?
Yes, sir.
So if there's any discrepancy or any issue or anything that's not correct in them, then you would be relying on faulty information, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'll quite a second. Thank you.
Anything further from this witness?
Tell me what you know. Why do route sheets get changed?
Oh my gosh.
Mr. Hilliard got you to say that you would be speculating, but how long have you been in solid waste removal?
Since 19 BC, 1976.
Why does a route sheet get changed?
Typically, a route sheet may
That's funny.
change. The route sheet doesn't change. What changes would be what we have an exception list. So, for example, if a stop would come on or come off, it would just be notated in the front of the route sheet.
Okay. In any case, this route sheet is the one that was printed out and used by hand on October 5th, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't have any further questions, Judge.
May this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, sir, you are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go forth and take care of our garbage, sir. Thank you. I'm with Grandma Sherry. I say route for everything except
State
when we're
recall
talking
six
about
witness.
the road. then it's
Donnard
like
Johnson.
Route 66, Route 34. Other than that, I do say route with everything else. That's crazy. I didn't think of that until Green mentioned Route 66. Did we ever figure out who Edward Cullen was there in the back? He's there every day. Got to be a reporter for someone. Hey, this is the only tie of his that I like. I like his coral tie.
The evidence you
I'm not
submitted
hating on the
before
coral
the jury
tie.
is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes. Step this way, please.
All right, good morning.
Good guy here.
Morning, could you please introduce yourself to the jury, sir?
My name is Donnard Johnson, and I'm with Waste Management. I've been there over 23 years in the business.
And is waste management different from Waste Pro?
That's correct. We're considered WM.
What does WM do?
Before you go further, Mr. Johnson, will you spell your first name and last name?
It's Donnard, Donnard, and last name Johnson, Johnnson.
All right, thank you.
It's Donnard, not Donnard.
Donnard.
I need to apologize to you for mispronouncing your name for the past 2 years. Okay. What is your position?
Superman's so
I'm
cute.
the senior district manager for the coastal sites.
And what are your duties in that position?
I run the overall operation, environmental safety, compliance, and also the P&L.
Does that include oversight of landfill operations?
That's correct.
Does WM operate landfills?
Yes, sir.
How many landfills do you oversee in one capacity or another?
3.
And what are they?
1 in Savannah, that's a Superior landfill, and 2 in Ridgeland, South Carolina.
All right. You mentioned that you've been you said you've been with waste management for a long, long time, or did you mean in the waste management field?
So I worked for Waste Management in the early 2000s, and I departed for years and then went back to work for.
Can you describe the positions you've held and how you've worked your way up in this industry over the years?
I started out as a heavy equipment operator. Then I worked my way up the rank as a site supervisor, operation manager, and district manager, and then a senior.
I like this guy. He started out running the big trucks and now he's doing the big business. And it does, yeah, like Uncle Phil. He's like, if Uncle Phil and Santa had a kid, that's this guy, but he just seems to have a gentle spirit, doesn't he? I just imagine his grandkids love to just listen to him and chill with him. Sorry, I'll shut up, but I like this guy.
Site supervisor, operation manager, and district manager, and then a senior district manager.
And that's the position that you're in today, right?
Yes, sir.
Were you involved in the operation of the Waste Management Superior landfill in Chatham County in October, November of 2022?
Yes, sir.
Now, do you remember meeting with me in my office maybe a month or 2 ago?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember me asking you for just kind of the basics of how landfills work?
Yes, sir.
Because I didn't really know anything about landfills. And do you remember referring me to a YouTube video produced by the company you work for, Waste Management?
Yes, sir.
You told me this is like 2 minutes and it'll kind of get you up to speed on landfills generally.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that because you didn't want to take an hour to walk me through it, or what?
Well, well, just everybody so you could really understand what a landfill consists of versus what they call a dump.
What's the difference between landfill and dump?
By the way, that 2-minute, I know exactly what video they're talking about because I took clips from that 2-minute waste management video, and it's in my original video on what Quentin could have went through to get to the landfill. So just made me smile there. Like, oh, they just send that out. This is the difference, man.
It consists of versus what they call a dump.
What's the difference between landfill and dump?
Well, a landfill is just highly engineered operation, and a dump is where you pull the waste off somewhere or in a hole.
Do you think if the jury were to watch that video, it would help them in their understanding of your testimony?
Yeah, sure.
Do you see in front of you a disc labeled as State's Exhibit 68?
Yes.
I'd like to open that up and just show you the first frame or two and see if you can tell us what that is. And I'm going to do this on the screen. Turn it down a little bit.
Finding a suitable site for a landfill can be.
All right, I'm pausing it just 4 seconds in. Is this the video that you referred me to?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would introduce this disc as State's Exhibit 68 and ask to publish it to the jury.
I don't have an objection, Judge.
Finding a suitable site for a landfill can be complex. Landfill operators will work with regulators to be sure the new facility is located in the right place. Some places, like properties near wetlands, will be carefully evaluated for any environmental concerns. Impacts on nearby traffic will be analyzed. The site will also be evaluated to understand the land, groundwater, and surface water in the vicinity. Community feedback is important to consider, and meeting environmental and land use standards are a must. Once the site is approved by the regulator, the first step is to follow permit plans for sound construction. The second step is to secure the base of the landfill to provide a stable base for the liner. A two-phase composite is installed on the base and sides of the landfill. Leachate, a natural occurrence when waste is in contact with water, is collected through a system of drains, pumps, pipes, and hoses that move leachate away from the landfill. The leachate collected the groundwater monitoring system is installed. The landfill does not impact groundwater at the site. The monitoring system acts as an alert in case additional measures may be needed to protect neighboring properties. Groundwater quality is protected at all times. Access to the site is carefully controlled for safety, and waste is screened by appropriateness as required. The landfill waste that has not been recycled. Equipment compacts the waste each day before daily cover, soil or tarps, is placed to avoid potential littering and odor. Gas wells are installed to capture methane generated by the waste. Once full, the landfill is covered with a cover system approved by the regulator. Groundwater continues to be monitored, and methane gas is collected and destroyed or turned into energy or fuel. When the landfill stops accepting waste, regulators will approve its closure and will monitor its safety for 30 years or as required by the regulators. Then, controls will be put in place to keep the property secure for the future. The property surrounding the closed landfill can be used for commercial or industrial use. But commonly, the property is used for green space, suitable for recreation or habitat conservation. We strongly support wildlife habitat conservation at our landfills through our partnership with the Wildlife Habitat Council.
Hey, Nanya.
Now, with that little bit of background, let me ask you this: what happens when a solid waste removal truck, a garbage truck, shows up at the landfill with a load, and it's going to deposit that load at the landfill? Can you just walk us through it step by step, from the moment that truck turns in to, and we'll go specifically with Waste Management Superior Landfill in Sherman County. What happens?
So the truck enter the landfill through the main gate, proceed to the scales, which we call the gatehouse. The truck will get weighed in. Their weight will captured, and from there they proceed to the tipping floor, and that's the area they eject the waste and it gets processed.
What happens? Let's go back to the scale. Truck comes in and goes to the scale to get weighed, right? And you're looking for the weight, the combined weight of the truck itself and the garbage on it, right?
That's correct.
Is there ever a circumstance where the truck just gets to bypass the scale initially?
No.
Okay. And then you said it goes to the tipping field, is that right?
Tipping floor.
Tipping floor. What is the tipping floor in some more detail?
That's where the truck goes to eject the load and it gets processed.
And how does a truck eject the load? Does it depend on the type of truck? Or what?
Depend on the type of truck. Front end loader, they have a blade in the back where they push it out from the back, and same with a residential truck. A rolled off trucks, the bed will raise and the doors open and eject the load.
And you said at that point, the trash gets processed, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Before we get into what that means, let me ask you, what happens with the truck from that point? Where does the truck go?
Once the truck ejects its load, it pulls back up out of the way and head back to the front gate.
And what happens at the front gate?
Certain trucks, their weight is stored in the system, so they don't have to weigh back out. They'll just exit the landfill.
What if the truck's weight is not stored in the system?
Then the truck will have to go back to the outbound scale and get weighed out.
And how do you calculate? Well, are trucks or solid waste removal companies charged like by the load?
By the ton, it gets calculated by the computer.
And how does the computer calculate it?
Weigh the in weight and empty weight.
Okay, so weight of the truck with the trash
Yep.
minus weight of the empty truck gives you the total tonnage.
That's correct.
And you charge based off that.
That's correct.
Okay, so the truck's gone at this point, right? At the point that we're at.
That's correct.
Okay, let's go back to the trash at the tipping field and what it means for that trash to get processed. Can you tell us about that? What happens to the trash from there?
So we have a series of bulldozers that pushes the waste to the compactor, and the compactor has cleat wheels, and that spread the waste and pulverize the waste.
Is the place that the trash is pushed by the bulldozers, does it have any particular name that you refer to?
Landfill cell.
Okay. Tell me about landfill cells.
It's a general area that we put the waste in layers.
And do you use the same cell all the time?
Until it's up to the approved height.
And then what happens at that point?
Then it's closed out.
What does it mean to close out a cell?
Well, no more waste can be deposited in that area because it's at the approved elevation.
What do you do to close it out?
We apply dirt, 2 feet of dirt over that area and vegetate it.
What does it mean to vegetate it? You
Plant
use a lot of
grass.
Technical terms. I'm going to keep hitting you with what does it mean?
Plant grass.
Okay. At that point, you're done with that cell.
Done with that area. That's correct.
About how big is a typical landfill cell? Maybe it varies too.
It varies.
Answer that, but,
It could be 10 acres, 12 acres, or 13 acres.
okay. Now, how long will you use a particular cell for?
It also varies on the tonnage that comes in. More tonnage, then that cell generally gets filled quicker. Less tonnage, it opens a little bit longer. So around 3 years the most.
Okay. And is the landfill big enough that you've allowed for multiple cells and you can kind of
Yes.
move around it and
Yes,
use the place over the course of years?
that's correct.
Okay. You mentioned the bulldozer pushing the trash into the landfill cell and then it being compacted by, I think you said a compactor with cleated wheels.
Yes. So we use Caterpillar 836 compactors.
What is the importance of compaction in a landfill? Why
Um,
bother? Why not just,
Density, fit more in a small space. We sell airspace, so we have to compact and get good density so we could fit more in that area.
did you say something about there being regulations about how high you can
That's
have
correct.
trash in a cell? Okay. So is it fair to say that the tighter you can get that stuff compacted, the longer you can use that cell under the governing regulations?
That's correct.
These compactors that you described, do you see in front of you a document marked as States Exhibit 69?
Yes.
What is that?
That's a waste compactor.
Is it the type that you were describing?
That's correct.
Does it fairly and accurately depict that machine?
Yes,
And does it accurately capture the weight of that machine?
that's correct.
Your Honor, I would introduce this as States Exhibit 69.
No objection, Your Honor.
I'll tell you guys the story about the person recognizing my voice on a break. It's happened twice, but the other time I expected it. The first time I was not expecting it.
All right, so this is the first page from the brochure for this machine, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, and you said it's called a CAT 836.
Compactor.
All right, in this image, what is this CAT 836 doing?
Spreading and compacting the waste.
Is this, kind of a look at what that process looked like that you were describing?
Yes, sir.
All right. How much these things weigh for this brochure?
Some all depends on the wheel, 123,000 pounds or more.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you how many tons that is, because that would require you to do math on the spot. But fair to say they're heavy?
Yes, sir.
Is it fair to say that's kind of the point?
That's the point.
You mentioned the rollers, the studded, or I think you said cleated rollers. Is that what you said?
Cleated wheels.
Do we see those in this image?
Yes, sir. Those spikes on the wheels.
Now, what are these wheels made out of?
Steel.
I did the math. It's over 61 tons, almost 62 tons. Tons. That is heartbreaking. This is very heartbreaking to listen to. Just again, I have to keep reminding myself that he was more than likely deceased before going through this process, and that's the only solace in all of this, right? But still just disgusting, and it enrages me. And I bet it enrages parts of the jury as well.
These are not rubber tires.
No, sir.
Okay. And what does that do to the trash?
It cuts up the trash, breaks it down.
And that's kind of what you're going for, right?
Right.
We heard something in that video about daily cover.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about daily cover? What does that mean?
So daily cover is soil that we have to apply to the waste after our shift is completed
At the end of the day?
at the end of the day.
Why do you do this?
Because we're regulated to do that, because it helps with odor and wind blowing debris.
How much, describe the process of applying the daily cover. What does this look like?
So we have a series of ADT trucks that haul the dirt, all the cover soil to the area, and the dozers spread the soil 6 to 8 inches thick.
And this happens
Every day.
and you have to do it under law, right?
Yes, sir. Regulated by the state.
And when is this being done, I guess, in the active cell that you're using at that
That's
time?
correct.
Okay. And in the course of doing this daily cover and spreading this 6 to 8 inches of dirt over the cell, is it fair to say that all the trash in that cell is being compacted once again?
That's correct.
What happens with the daily cover the next morning when y'all reopen?
We remove that daily cover.
And does that also require these compactors with the blade on the front?
The dozer will remove the daily cover.
Is that something different from the compactor?
That's correct.
Okay. Are those also pretty heavy?
Yes, between 50 or 60,000 pounds.
Okay. Now, in October of 2022, I think sometime around maybe the 7th or the 8th, did Detective Noble come out to the landfill and make contact with you?
Yes, sir.
And did he ask you whether?
Honestly, and don't worry about my pausing because our judge loves to take breaks, so we'll catch up. But honestly, she's never shown a ton of emotion except when Danny was on the stand. Oh man, she had some emotion when they were playing through the Danny shit. And annoyance when the younger babysitter was on the stand. Even yesterday, through all that testimony, which was so hard to hear, she gave us what? One little tiny trinkle down the eye or down the cheek? It's infuriating.
You could tell him anything about Waste Pro Truck 3909 and where it would have deposited its garbage, its trash on the morning of October 5th, 2022.
Yes.
And were you able to provide him some records about Waste Pro Truck 3909 on that day?
Yes.
And were you able to tell him the general area that the garbage from that truck would have been deposited in the landfill on that day?
Yes.
Do you see in front of you the 2-page document marked as State's Exhibit 67?
Yes.
Do you recognize those 2 documents?
Yes.
Can you tell us what they are?
So one is the is the scale ticket that we issue the driver once he come in and weigh in. And the other location is where we place the waste.
Yeah, right now, I'm just asking you about the 2 pages in 67. What are the 2 pages in State's Exhibit 67?
These are the scale tickets.
Okay. How many are there?
2.
And are those scale tickets for Waste Pro Truck 3909 from
That's
October
correct.
5th, 2022?
That's correct.
Okay. So how many times did that truck come to Waste Management Superior Landfill that day?
2 times.
Are those documents created in the ordinary course of business at Waste Management?
Yes.
And are they stored and maintained in the ordinary course of business?
Yes.
And you were able to produce those for Detective Noble when he asked?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would introduce these as State's Exhibit 67.
Objection, Your Honor.
All right, can you see this on the screen here? There's one right next to you.
Yes.
Can you walk us through the contents of this document and what it shows, just kind of starting from the top?
So it shows the company logo and the site name and address, and also shows the customer and the date, the account, and the vehicle number. And it also shows the time that the truck entered the scales.
And what time would that be?
6:24.
All right, so that's when it comes in, right, and gets
That's-
weighed?
That's when it comes in.
And what does that operator refer to? Is that the truck operator or the scale
No,
operator?
that's the scale operator.
All right, someone named R. Bradley, I suppose?
That's correct.
What else are we seeing on here?
And the gross, the truck, the tier weight, and the net and the tonnage that the truck has on it.
All right, so would the gross weight there at the top be
Yep.
the truck and the trash?
That's correct.
And the tare weight is the
Empty weight.
empty truck? And the net then is the total tonnage of the trash? Okay. This is from that truck's early morning 6:25 drop off, right?
That's correct.
Now I see that the in and out times on there say the exact same thing, 6:25:47. Why is that?
That's because the weight is stored in the system, so we were able to print a ticket.
So this is one of those trucks where you had the weight stored that didn't have to stop at the scale empty on the way out.
That's correct.
So it all just kind of happens in one go when it first comes in.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, what does the driver's signature there say? If you can read it.
It's hard to make out.
Moving down to the second page, we could skip all the stuff at the top. Let me just ask you, this is also for 3909 up here?
That's correct.
Okay. And what was the time that this particular load came in on this truck and was weighed?
10:12 a.m.
On October 5th, right?
That's correct.
Do you see in front of you a document marked as State's Exhibit 75?
That's correct.
Have you looked through that document, sir?
Yes.
Can you tell us what it is, if you recognize it?
That's the overall landfill footprint.
Okay. Do these images fairly and accurately depict Waste Management Superior Landfill in Chatham County?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would move this in as State's Exhibit 75.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, in this first image, what is this major road running along the right side from bottom to top?
That looks like 95.
Okay. And then what is this road?
That's Little Neck Road.
All right, so Little Neck Road is the smaller road going over 95 there.
Yes, sir.
Can you, is this entire area here on the left side of the screen, is that Waste Management Superior Landfill?
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on to slide 2. Do you mind stepping down and walking us through the different areas we're seeing here from right to left, from the entrance, moving over to the left?
This is the entrance. This is the shop area where we take care of our heavy equipment. This area right here is the gatehouse, the scale house is what we call it. And once the truck gets weighed in, it goes up to the working face area. Here's is our waste to energy plant we have on site. And this area here is our tipping floor area.
Okay. Now, that tipping floor area, is that the tipping floor area that was being used on October 5th of 2022?
That's correct.
It is. Okay. When Detective Noble, when he came out there and asked you if you could identify where that truck would have tipped its load and where that load would have then been shoved to, you said you were able to do that, right?
Yes.
Did he ask you to do anything for him at that point?
He asked us to stop, please.
Would you like to rephrase the question?
No, you're on. He's going to relay a question that Detective Neville asked him. The question cannot be a statement offered for the truth or that. So, I mean, the question just can't be hearsay.
Given that over.
Did Detective Noble ask you to do anything?
Superman.
Stop, please. Do waste in that area.
Okay. And was he referring to the tipping area or that particular landfill cell that trash was being used to, or what?
The landfill cell.
Okay. And did you do that?
That's correct.
Did that have any impact on y'all's operations?
Yes, it did.
What did y'all have to do at that point?
We had to hire a subcontractor to move our tipping floor location, and that was a cost to the company.
Did you have to open up a new landfill cell at that point?
We had an area that still needed some waste, and we're able to relocate to that area.
From that point forward, did you cease depositing trash in the area that you had identified to him?
That's correct.
Can you, on this third slide here, we zoomed in a little bit. Can you just generally indicate to us where the tipping floor would have been on October 5th, 2022, and where the cell would have been, the things would be pushed
The
in?
tipping floor would have been in this general area,
And that's a dark area
Yeah.
towards the bottom middle.
and the area we were placing waste was on the outside slope.
Okay. Can you tell us on this image like the route that the truck would have taken? And I guess let me ask you this: is the truck going on this very obvious road along the top, or is it
would
going
come
somewhere
up-
else?
It would come up through the top.
Okay, so it's coming up the road
Yep.
on the bottom right,
Yep.
tipping in this brownish area, and then this trash is getting shoved to the cell over here, right?
That's correct.
Now, I think you mentioned something about a slope or a hill.
Well, it's on the outer slope of the landfill.
This being a two-dimensional image, we can't really see a slope.
No.
What we're looking at here. Can you describe to us what the slope is, and what direction it goes?
Well, it's on the outer side, and we're designed to build 3-to-1 slope, so not a steep incline. So you could walk and put tractors on it to mow safely.
Okay. So is it fair to say then that there's, from the center of the image, there's sort of a slope down to this perimeter?
That's
right?
correct.
Okay. Were you involved to one degree or another in providing personnel and equipment for the search once law enforcement began the search?
Yes.
Can you tell us about the personnel and equipment that you all provided?
We provided 2 heavy equipment operator and equipment, and also my operation manager and equipment.
And what were they out there doing?
They were removing the waste and loading it, and moving the waste down on the area that they spread it out and search.
And about how long did your people participate in this effort for doing that?
Maybe around 7 days or so.
Did you all have to do this, provide personnel and equipment?
No.
Why did you do it?
Just because of the significance of what happened.
All told, do you have any idea how much money this costs Waste Management to have
Your Honor, relevance.
I love it.
shift operations and then divert personnel and equipment to this effort?
Why is it relevant? Because I think that is absolutely relevant, and I wish it was something hey, Tim, I wish it was something that they brought up more. The cost of all of this, the cost incurred to the taxpayer because Leilani decided to not only murder her child, but then put him in a dumpster that took him to a landfill. It I mean, it's in the millions, you know it has to be. Not including the trial. I'm not even thinking of that, I was just thinking of all the stuff before we even get to the trial.
Operations, and then divert personnel and equipment to this effort?
Once we shift operation, it costs us between $70,000 and $80,000 to move the operation.
Were you present at Waste Management Superior Landfill the day that the searchers found equipment?
That's correct. I was in my office.
What do you remember about that day?
My operator called me and said,
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Sir, we just don't want you to repeat anything that someone else told you, because that would be hearsay.
At some point, did you get a call that caused you to go out there?
yes,
And were you relieved to hear that the search had been successful?
yes,
One moment, please.
That's normal. The everyday person who is attending as a witness doesn't know that they can't say
No further
something that
questions.
someone else has said. But honestly, Superman should have walked him through it a little better.
Mr. Johnson, how are you?
I'm doing great, sir.
My name is Martin Hilliard. Hope you're having a good day. I just got some follow-up questions for you. Your exact title at Waste Management is what again?
Senior district manager,
So what's the district you're a manager of,
a coastal,
and which goes from where to where?
South Carolina and Georgia.
Okay. And is there 3 landfills in those
Yes.
areas?
2 in South Carolina and 1 in Georgia.
So those are what you manage?
Yes,
Those
sir.
3, correct, for the company? All right. And just out of curiosity, are there any other landfills in the Savannah area?
Yes, they're Republic landfill.
Okay. And where's that located at?
I believe that's close by the airport.
Okay. And that's the only other competitor you have in the area?
That's correct.
And approximately, and we're talking about the Little Neck Road landfill that y'all have, correct?
Yes.
Approximately how many trucks come in and go out of there every day?
Some days could be 400 or 500 trucks per day.
And are there many, how many different commercial waste companies dump there?
A lot.
Okay. And when I say commercial waste companies, that's what I mean is people who are engaged in picking and removing waste. Can be for both businesses and private, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So do you have both private businesses, private, I guess, residential waste removal companies that dump there?
Yes.
Do you have both, I guess, commercial, which would be like businesses?
Yes.
Okay. So you have basically both.
Yes.
Correct? All right. And is it fair to say that most of them have similar equipment?
Meaning?
A waste removal truck of some sort?
Well, some comes in a waste removal truck and some is your everyday pickup trucks with a dump trailer.
All right. So you do both, I guess, private.
Yes.
Private dumping as well.
Yes.
And I assume you charge for that as well.
That's correct.
So it's not just the big companies that come in and do it. Private
That's correct.
citizens come in and do it.
Yes.
Too. And anyone can come in and dump in that facility.
Yes, sir.
And it has both, I guess, residential garbage as well as commercial garbage.
That's correct.
And anytime I'm not stating the accurate, being inaccurate about your business, please correct me, okay? Now let's talk about, I guess it's the, what was it you called the area you're dumping in or dumping waste in?
It's a landfill cell.
A landfill cell, okay? How many landfill cells do you have operating at one time in the dump?
Just one.
Okay, so with regard to that landfill cell that's operating, any and all trucks that come in there dump in that landfill cell, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What's the furthest away, if you know, what's the furthest away you have trucks coming in?
Just around the surrounding area.
Okay. So let's say as far away as surrounding counties, maybe?
That's correct.
Okay. And again, you're not like, you're a private company engaged in the landfill business. So you don't turn people away just because they're from out of county, do you?
We just don't take out of state waste.
Right. So it's just whatever waste you got's coming from Georgia, right?
Coming from Georgia. That's
Okay.
correct.
All right. So you're using one landfill cell area at a time, correct?
That's correct.
And I assume from what I have heard you testify to, you use this landfill cell area and you said it's 10 to 12 to 13 acres big.
That's correct.
All right. And everything that comes in gets dumped there.
That's correct.
And how long do you use that landfill cell for usually?
It all depends on the volume of the waste coming in. How much waste is coming in, then it will fill up quicker. If the volume decreases, it'll stay, that general area will stay a little bit longer.
In general, how long does it take you to move from one landfill cell to the next?
2 to 3 years.
Okay. So in this particular case, the landfill cell you were using, how long have y'all been using that one?
We've been using that area a little bit over 2 years.
Okay. So at that point in time, it was about a 2-year landfill cell, and you were having 400 to 500 trucks a day from the surrounding area dump in that landfill cell, correct?
That's correct.
Was there any other area you were dumping in the landfill at that point in time?
No, sir.
Okay. So
Wait, let me pause Mr. Sassy Pants to address Carrot. Did anyone see the Jennifer Coffindoffer photo thingy? I'm guessing you mean the box that Quentin was in and the photo that the agent took, and Jennifer reposted it once the family put it out on social media, right? On QBs, they were claiming she said she took the photo herself. No, she did not say she took the photo herself. Um, I would have to look up her tweet, but what she does a reply. I remember this vividly. She does a reply in the comment section, and she's like, she says something like, "I took that as a memorial." And I think the way I interpreted what she was saying, she left out the words like, "I took that to mean." Like, I don't think she was claiming she took the photo herself, and all of us know she didn't take the photo herself. She just left off the words, "I took that to mean." Does that make sense? But I'll see if I can find that real quick while we play farther. I just know exactly what you're talking about with the photo.
and the only other competitor you have in town is Republic near the airport, correct?
That's correct.
Do and if you don't know, you don't know. Does any private sanitation companies dump there?
Yes.
Okay. Which companies dump there?
So you have Waste Pro, Atlantic Waste, Pro Disposal. So we got quite a bit.
Okay. And when I say, do they dump residential waste as well as commercial waste?
That's correct.
Okay. So, and what's the difference between residential waste versus commercial waste?
Well, one's household garbage, and the other one is construction demolition debris.
Okay. So some of these companies are paid or engaged or contracted to go collect people's household waste, the garbage cans you see along the road, right?
Correct.
Okay. And and you said that you know of at least 3 companies that do that in the dumping there, correct?
Yeah, and a lot more.
Okay. We'll just stick with what you know. Let's not speculate, okay? So you know of at least 3 companies. There probably are more, though, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so you said it was October 8th was when all waste in this particular landfill cell was stopped, correct?
October 7th.
October 7th?
That's correct.
So all of the waste that came in to your facility for the 5th, 6th, and 7th until it was stopped from Savannah and surrounding areas was dumped in this landfill cell, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, sir. That's all the questions I have.
Can you redirect?
When you were indicating to Detective Noble the area that truck 3909 would have deposited its load, or I guess where that load would have ultimately ended up after being moved from the tipping field.
Tipping floor.
Tipping floor. Were you indicating towards just like the entirety of the 10 to 12 acre
No.
landfill cell, or
No.
to a more precise area within it?
Yeah, it's just a more precise area.
About how big was that area that you were pointing out, if you could estimate?
Normally, we work in a 50 by 50 area.
Okay. And was Quentin ultimately found in that area?
That's correct.
Just to follow up, you're talking about the tipping floor. So again, the tipping floor, the big piece of equipment that we saw. When you're using a landfill cell and you have the tipping floor, I assume that compactor runs back and forth over the trash, compacting it, correct?
That's correct.
And it picks it up and moves it, correct?
Well, the the dozers, well, everybody knows that bulldozers will take the waste to the compactor, and then the compactor spreads the waste and compact it.
Okay. So when you say the bulldozer, everyone knows this. Let's just assume I don't know anything about landfills. I don't know anything about how it works. Okay. So, but what we're saying is all the waste that gets dumped is compacted, dozed, moved, pushed, compacted. How many times does this happen?
Once the waste is pushed in that general area, it don't get moved. It's just get compacted.
Okay. And so when the waste gets dumped, it gets dozed, moved, pushed, compacted, and then that's, I guess you start doing what we call a daily
cover.
Daily cover. Okay. And every day you have to cover it.
Listen, Lindsay. Uncle Santa Night is breathing like that because he's tired of Sassy Pants questioning him over and over and over on trivial stuff. Let the man breathe. He's ready to go.
And every day you have to uncover.
That's correct.
And once you uncover it, do you dump more and do that again?
That's correct.
All right. So you compact it, dose it, move it, cover it, uncover it. The next day, dump more, compact it, dose it, move it, cover it. Next day, uncover it, do the same thing again, and then stop, correct?
That's correct. Once we reach our general height.
Thank you.
Mr. Dean?
No question.
Thank you. And may this witness be released?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Johnson, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You are excused.
It looks like they're going to a break.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, it's been about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. I think it's a good time for a short break. We're going to break for 15 minutes. Please don't discuss the case. Don't do any research, and we will see you back in 15.
I'm laughing at Lindsay. I'm sorry that I took my grifting frustration out on you. It's my bad. My bad. Okay. Instead of skipping through this break, I'm going to let it play for a minute and I'm going to show you guys the tweet. Okay. So here's the tweet from JC back in November 22nd, 2022. It says, truly so honored and proud to have served under this organization for 25 years. They found him and now justice can be served for baby Quentin. Now we saw this picture yesterday in the trial. Another point to remember, as we heard from Savannah Solomon herself, where did this picture go? Well, it went to the other detectives that were covering the investigation, and it went to Leilani, Billy Joe, and other family members. As another, what did she call it? As another proof of death. Yeah, that might have not been her exact word. Proof of death might not have been her exact words, but that was another reason she sent it to the family members. How did this photo end up on social media? This photo ended up on social media because Billy Joe and probably just Billy Joe, sent it to certain YouTubers, right? They, certain YouTubers, lots of them. I'll get to the comments under below. I know what you're talking about, Carrot, but that's how it ended up making its rounds on social media. And then Jennifer has it here. Now, if you go down to the comment that Kara is talking about, Crime Sleuth says, where did this photo originate? Billy Joe is telling people that Quentin is in that box. Jennifer Coffinduffer says, I don't know. Sleuthen's question is, where did this photo originate? Her first reply, I don't know. He is not in that box. He is in Quantico. I took the photo as a symbol of the work the FBI did on the case. I don't think it was intended to be literal. One, she is lying, like he is in the box, but she wouldn't have known that. He is in the box, absolutely. What Jennifer felt it was at the time was that it was a symbol of the work that they had done on the case, and it was more of a memorial. When that phrase right there, I took the photo as a symbol, she's not saying that she is the one who took the photo like, she did not actually take a picture of this instance. I know, shambles, I'm like, "Why are people are" this is the context, like, and all you have to do is read the other, um what people are already on there telling her. Hang on, where did I just saw it as I was accidentally scrolling down. But somebody was on there telling her, like, "This was sent to the Leilani and Billy Joe." All you have to do is take the rest of the context of her replies in there. Okay, so she's talking about that. Right here. "Thank you. It was sent to me this morning. I believe the photo was to honor Quentin and the FBI's work on the case." Why would anybody think that her statement down here was, "I took the photo," meaning that she took the actual picture? All you have to do is grab the rest of the context clues in in her very sentence there, but also in the rest of it. Wow, so not only are you helping scammers in Sebastian Rogers' case spread so many lies, but you took credit for photo. She didn't take credit for it. Oh my God, these people. And I get why she denied that his remains were in the box. She wouldn't have known, which is what she should have said. She should have said, "I have no idea if he is truly in that box or not." Oh my gosh. Am I crazy? She didn't say that she took the photo. Um, right here. Apparently, Billy Joe has said Quentin is in that box. No, he would not be there, which she's wrong. This is just a memorial. His remains are in Quantico being analyzed, and his casket wouldn't have a flag over it. Is this actually an FBI photo? It seems strange that it would look like a casket and the casket would have a flag on it. Could it be a meme? The first time I saw it when Billy Joe posted it on YouTube. Jennifer says, "For me, the message was clear and I liked it." Um, I don't know why anybody could take what she said as her saying that she actually, like, took a picture of this. Okay. Yeah, she's guilty of some misinformation, a lot of misinformation, absolutely. Um, yeah, I'm not a and listen, I'm not a Jennifer Coffendorfer fan at all. I've made videos about Jennifer Coffendorfer. She gets a lot of shit wrong. Should she be more careful with what she's saying? Like, she had no way of knowing whether Quentin was in that or not. Comes to find out, he was. But accusing her of claiming she took the photo is just comical because that's not what she's saying at all, and anybody with 2 brain cells can figure that out. Alright, let's see. Oh my gosh, her quick breaks are long. Let's see what you guys had to say about it. This question let's question my sanity, right? Shambles. Uh, no, I didn't know people were making a big deal out of it, but I do remember that instance because it ended up being. That's how I got the nickname "Deeds on the motherfucking street." But it wasn't about that. It wasn't about that statement from Jennifer Coffendorfer. It was what people then went and did with the photo and all of that. Because I did some research and found out that once Quentin was delivered to Quantico, which we heard yesterday how he was delivered to Quantico in an extremely compassionate manner. But once he was delivered to Quantico, he would remain there until the end of this trial, until the case is fully closed. And that's what that previous situation was about, and finding out that his remains would not be returned until after the case was closed. Um, but no, I don't think Jennifer Coffendorfer was trying to claim that she actually took the photo herself. But what do I know? People are wild. People are wild. Oh gosh, we're still not back from trial. See, I told y'all we'd catch up. She loves her breaks. I mean, that's let me scroll through that. Yeah, there was that one right there in the Twitter, like the new let me see. I hate Twitter. How do I can I adjust it to most recent? No, I don't think I can. Oh, yeah, I can. Latest. Okay. That photo was of Quentin and was sent to Billy Joe and Leilani according to the trial today, which yeah, that's why I say she does need to be more careful with what she says because, she was saying he wasn't in there and people did believe her on that. And she just didn't know. Like he truly was in there. Um, and this person was like, wow, so not only are you helping scammers in Sebastian Rogers' case spread so many lies, but you took credit for a photo you never took. And also deny that Quentin remains were not in the box in said photo. Must have been desperate times when they hired you. I think that's about it. That's all she's gotten on it since back then. Well, fake. People are wild, y'all. Check Facebook. I will, there. Hang on, I got to log into my Deep account. Hold. Please hold. Oh my gosh. Shut the front door. I can't with you people. Of course. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Yep, today I've watched so far the waste management guys share a lot of info about the operations. Yep. Um, it's a very tedious trial. Very tedious, but I think we're gonna get into some interesting stuff today. I really do. Oh, Southern Gal, I don't see you. Oh, there we are. You're welcome, Cammy. Yeah, no, I don't want to get into like the back and forth stuff during the middle of a trial like that, but it's easy to show the photo and it's easy to grasp the context of what she is saying when she said, I took the photo to mean. Well, she didn't add to mean. That's what she should have added was to mean. But yeah, it's clear to say. If she doesn't know where the photo comes from, then how could she be the one who took it? No, we're good. We are good. Thank you, though. We don't know. We could not find the witness list anywhere. I don't know why we couldn't find it, but we were unable to locate the witness list. Yeah, Cammy, Jennifer Coffindorfer, she just spouts so much crap. It's hard to take her serious, isn't it? Oh my gosh, Nicole, I just saw the photos you sent me. That's epic. She went to like a Beetlejuice exhibit. Something that I love the blue girl on the couch. That's awesome. Sorry guys, I rarely log into my Deets account. It feels like a trap and looks like a trap and smells like a trap. It may just be a trap. So true. I feel like the outrage culture isn't just here on social media because I'm not going to just limit it to YouTube because it's like all across all forms of social media. It's in the world today, this outrage culture. Yeah. Do you think they will? So the accused has the right to decide. They can't, no one can force the accused to take a stand in any trial. So She gets to decide if she wants to take the stand or not. Do I think she will? No, I don't think she will. That's at the drive-in? That was so cool, Nicole. I don't think all the FBI agents have been conveniently attractive. We've only heard from a couple of them so far. Snyder wasn't bad looking. Sullivan was adorable. I do think she was very demure, very mindful, very beautiful. Um, but then we heard from some FBI data analysis, and I don't know that they were necessarily attractive. Maybe it's all the good water at Quantico. They get the good water. Even on other trials, Gersing was attractive. I'm trying to think of some other FBI agents. Oh, and Murdoch, the FBI agent that did all the phone data, he was very cute. Maybe it's just the cute ones stick in our brain. Blame Melissa Jade. I always blame Melissa Jade. She was beautiful. She was. Someone in chat said it was probably Lindsay, but I don't know if it was or not. But someone in, maybe Violet. It was either Lindsay or Violet, but they said she looks like she, eats with the napkin in her lap. And I can't remember what they said after that. And I was like, where else are you supposed to put the napkin? But I didn't type it or say it because I didn't want to be judged. Like, of course you put the napkin in your lap. What are you heathens out here doing? I know, Violet, I knew it was either you or Lindsay. Oh, Crash Daddy is he was not cute, Shambles. He was very attractive. Absolutely was very attractive. A china set and napkins, yes. Yes. A china set and a napkin in her lap, and I was like, yeah. You're not class. Do you know where the napkin goes after you're done? If when you're done eating, where does the napkin go? And where does the napkin go when you are removing yourself from the table, but you are not finished with your meal? She looked like a grown-up Snow White. I can see that, Allie, that's a good comparison. Yeah, they're still on break. Yeah, it's scrolling in real time. Remember, this was supposed to be a short break, but we know our Judge Stokes by now. Oh my gosh, so short break to her means at least 30 minutes. This does drive, Nunya insane. To the side of your plate. And the trash can. And, so Violet says on the left, Shay says to the side, Candy thinks it's on the table. Grandma nailed it with on the back of the chair. Well, depending on which one you were talking about. You crossed your silverware on the plate and put the napkin on top. Back of the chair when you are going to, like, if you're going to go to the restroom, you put your napkin either in the seat of your chair, although that's not as acceptable as putting it on the back of your chair. Cat's eye nailed it, yes. It goes on the chair, and again, typically on the back. Most people don't put it on the seat. And then when your meal is finished, it goes on the plate. I know some people do, but it's typically the back of the chair. Listen, I'm not fancy at all. I do have an eye for detail. I like the little details in life. I think it makes life fun. But no, my grandma, listen, my grandma had 4 children. Her oldest and youngest were boys. In between that, she had 2 girls that she lost, one at 6 days and one at 6 weeks. And so she never had girls. And then I was the first granddaughter. And so she had decided that she was going to turn me into the very more lady that she thought all little girls should be. So I had to take like, she put me in some classes when I was like 8 or 9. It was crazy. But I remember bits and pieces of it from that. But I am not fancy AF. But my mom absolutely was. Tater sits on the table. I was a waitress at a bougie place too, Grandma. Some people in England leave it tucked into the top of their shirt at all times. I follow this really fancy etiquette person on Instagram. She's adorable, truly is, but some of her stuff it's way too far. Um, some of it I have to think it's like a parody, but she's being legit. You need finishing school, Carol. Where do you keep your butter? In the fridge or on the counter? You keep it on the counter because you cannot spread it if it is cold in the fridge. Agree, Southern gal. However, it is still acceptable to place it there, but the back of the chair is the preferred location. Imagine me and you and see me, a ferocious beast, just throwing the napkins on the table at all times. I've been clutching my pearls. Oh, the shame. No, I don't. I mean, some things just stay with you, right? Like, um, I know where the location of the silverware. I know where your napkin's supposed to go. Stuff like that just kind of stays with you. Plus, I used to go to like a lot of my grandpa got pretty high ranking in the military, and they would take me along, remember, as a daughter they never had, to a lot of fancy events that they went to after he was retired. So I just remember a lot of that stuff, and it's just ingrained in you. But no, dude, please. Like, I'm okay with using paper towels as napkins, and and in all of our vehicles, there is a stack of fast food napkins in the glove boxes. Like, it is what it is. Yes, real butter. Real butter. I mean, dang, fake butter doesn't even enter the vocabulary. Who the fuck is using fake butter? It's like one molecule away from plastic. But yes, real butter goes on the counter. No idea. Yeah, they do. Well, they did in the early 90s anyway. But then that's probably not real butter, because real butter um you can't spread if it's in the fridge because it's cold, it's solid. Now, fake butter like Country Crock, and I don't even know the other names because I don't buy fake butter, you can spread. No, butter doesn't go bad out of the fridge. I mean, it might if it's sitting on your counter for like a year and a half, but who doesn't use a stick of butter in like a week and a half? I can walk with books, but I can't chew gum and walk, go figure. Ew. Now, wouldn't the ketchup go b I don't know. You do you, girl. You do you. We're such snobs over here at the HOA. Who is taking bites of butter? No, no, no. You cannot spread. Girl, I will go do a demonstration now. You can't make hot toast and take cold butter, slice off a little sliver of the cold butter off the stick, and put it on the bread. It's not going to melt. The bread's just not hot enough. I don't like my toast being black. Like, toast is in the middle. Butter crock? Yeah, you just put it in the it goes in the butter dish on the counter. I can't believe that. Listen, if you wanna put that stuff in your body, you be my guest. I'm not judging you. Dude, Steph, we go through a couple of sticks a week as well. Counter butter and peanut butter in the pantry, bread in the fridge. I don't know why anybody puts bread in the fridge. That is, unless they're worried about it going bad, maybe. Um, but I do put bread in the cabinet. Yeah, Violet, I don't know why who's y'all that are using the fake butter, you need to convert to real butter and you will thank me later. A roll of Kleenex. Yeah, in a butter dish. But it's not hot enough to melt solid. Do it. Go test it out, Nanya. It's not gonna happen. Toast your bread to the preferred toastiness, and then slice off a sliver of real butter from cold from the fridge and put it on your toast. It's not gonna fully melt. To be able to spread it around? No, it doesn't work. Why are we still on a break? We were on a break. Country crock isn't good for you. At one point, nutritionists thought it was, but the healthy fats are better than the canola oil and fake butter. Yes, I put butter on my butter. Is butter a carb? I store my eggs in the fridge because I do not have, we don't have a source here for farm fresh eggs. So right now they're store-bought ones, but I have been thinking about getting chickens, and then I would not be storing them in the fridge. Country crock is all you know. Shay! Wow, I praise for you. I have not had fake butter in my house in 22 years. 22 years. Oh, I just got a message from Law Nerd. Sarah Boone, trial day 3, defense is preparing to call Sarah Boone to the stand now. Interesting. Butter in a butter dish and peanut butter on the counter. Well, I put it in the cabinet, but yeah. In a bread box. Hippie's fancy AF over there. Yes, Violet, putting cold butter on toast is like wiping your ass with sandpaper. You just don't do it. Okay, I can understand that, Grandma. He gets a pass. He absolutely gets a buy. If you're lactose intolerant, you're gonna have to use a butter-like product. My daughter, when she first started nursing and Crew had really, really bad acid reflux, she had to order some butter-like product because she cut out all dairy, and so she did the same thing, ordered a weird butter-like product. She said it wasn't horrible, but she only bought the thing once. Yeah, go, we're back on counter butter. I'm about to go record myself. Make toast, slice a thin. Wait, why are you getting this a thin piece of butter? You do you not know how to make toast? Toast has to be the butter has to be evenly spread all around it so that when you bite into the toast, you also taste the butter. Like that's just how it is. Leave for a moment while I get a cup of ice for my frothy Dr. Pepper. Come back, spread butter, and I'm ready to go. I don't believe it. I'm gonna do it too. I'm gonna record it too. I don't believe it at all. You've never had real butter? How can you call yourself a Southerner? I do not churn my own butter. No way, Jose. Buy the 4-pack of what are they? I think it's like a block of butter is 1 pound. Buy the 4-pack at Sam's. So 4 pounds of butter. from Sam's Club. From the Sam's Club. I'm keeping up with it the best I can. Oh my gosh, she has been gone for forever. Nope, not a carb. I like to watch criminality and hidden true crime for Delphi. That's basically the I've only tuned into them, and I'm not saying there's others out there that aren't better, but just with the 2 other trials going on, I have not been able to keep up with all the creators covering it and following some of the people on Twitter. I said, "Is butter a carb?" That's from Mean Girls, the movie. Butter pasta with parmesan? Uh, have any of y'all been to Texas Roadhouse with the, cinnamon butter and their rolls? I think I'm gonna order some. Freak Snake drops her noodles in the sink while drinking and still eat. Ugh! Who does that? What is squares? I've never heard of square sausage. What is square sausage? I do like Kerrygold butter too, but I'm not frivolous like that. Like, we have a stick in the fridge, but we typically just use the Sam's butter, man. Or Costco. We eat our butter and turn the tubs into fine china afterwards. That's not butter. You eat your plastic and then you turn the plastic containers into fine china. You can do the same thing with Cool Whip containers, Tater. You don't have to be a heathen eating the country crock. I'm just joking, by the way. I don't think any of you are heathens if you. Wait, okay, so Nicole just sent me a picture of Texas Roadhouse mini rolls from Walmart, but why would you get them there when you can get them straight from Texas Roadhouse? You know that they'll sell you frozen rolls, or you can order just like rolls to pick up. I do it every Thanksgiving. Every Thanksgiving. And everybody loves it. Lorne sausage shaped in a square. Interesting, Scottish. I've never seen sausage in a square. But just buy them from Texas Roadhouse. And then they're not I mean, do what you wanna do. Who the hell am I? Do what you wanna do. Melissa Jade, I live in BFE. Texas Roadhouse is not door dashing out here. Nothing is door dashing out here. Remember, I chose to live in the wilderness. But I do it's like a 20-minute drive to Texas Roadhouse now. And so but previously, I'd always make my husband stop on his way home from work and pick them up before our Thanksgiving dinners. Is it real butter or is it like country crock? Now, to be fair, here I am judging y'all with the Texas Roadhouse rolls from Walmart. You know what I love that you can buy in the grocery store? The Red Lobster rolls, because that's the only reason I go to Red Lobster, because none of the seafood at Red Lobster is like that great, but their rolls are the bomb.com. And now you can buy the mix in the grocery store. And that is what I'm going to be making for a snack this evening, Red Lobster rolls, because I love those. Does anybody okay, you know what I put in my mashed potatoes? I do put butter, a little bit, but I also put sour cream. Anybody else put sour cream in their mashed potatoes when they're making mashed potatoes? And don't tell me you use that butter or that powdered shit in a box. I'm not gonna have it in my chat. If any of you use it, God bless you, but do not type that you use that powdered shit. for mashed potato. That's not mashed potatoes. Those are just flakes of some genetically engineered thing. I don't even know what that is, but in mashed potatoes, I do put sour cream. It's amazing. Try it. You can thank me later. I do have good Caesar dressing. Yes. I'll make Luke pick some Texas Roadhouse rolls. You got engaged at Texas Roadhouse? Did you do it on top of the saddle, Tater? You guys don't have Texas Roadhouse? They also go by Logan's. So you might have like a Logan's Roadhouse. I think they go by that in some parts of the country. You don't like the Red Lobster rolls? I do. I love the cheddar biscuits. The cheddar biscuits are everything. Hey, Max, like, we don't got that here. We just went out to Texas Roadhouse for Morgan's birthday last weekend. That's where she wanted to go. Crew was tearing up those rolls, let me tell you. He liked the rolls, he liked the steak, and mac and cheese. He ate a bunch of mac and cheese. Then he went to Texas Roadhouse again yesterday with Daddy and his friends. Can you buy them from Red Lobster? Like, I haven't been to Red Lobster in forever, but I love their rolls. You put cream cheese. I haven't tried cream cheese. I love okay, so we're on board with the sour cream. Yes. Real potatoes only. That's all we're going to discuss in this chat. Absolutely. You're not missing anything, Mrs. Arnold, except for their cheddar biscuits, but now you can buy them elsewhere. My PayPal is private. It's just I don't have a public one to share because it's my name. Simon name, Simon name. Actually, it's my husband's name. But you guys do not need to send me anything anyway. I did try that Jacob, and I thought it was too mushy. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was too mushy. But I do mine in my KitchenAid mixer, like, so I'll make boil the potatoes, drain them, put them in the mixer, and I put the butter, like a half a stick of butter on the bottom. Now, this is quite a few potatoes because I only know how to make like 8 pounds of potatoes at a time. Then you put half a stick of butter on the bottom. Then you put the potatoes in the mixing bowl, and then you like do a whole container of sour cream on top. Close the mixing lid and blend the hell out of it. The best mashed potatoes ever. And lots of salt. Not lots, but enough. Salt to taste. How did we get on this conversation? Oh, Bridget, I'm sorry. We're all going to be going out to Texas Roadhouse or Red Lobster for their rolls, at least. I don't like Outback. Allie, that sounds amazing. Muff divers? What?
Okay, so
What's a
we're
muff
back on the
diver?
record in SBCR 2203.
Sorry, I know I just complained about the 40-minute break, but I have to know what a muff diver is besides the obvious shambles.
3364J6. Council are both present at their respective tables. Ms. Simon is present with her counsel. Ms. Parker, I've had an opportunity to review the motion for immunity, and I am signing the order granting use and derivative immunity. I'm going to hand it down to the clerk, both documents down to the clerk, so they may be filed in. And of course, that is regarding the witness, Weston, Fred Weston.
Which kind, AMAC? Because that matters. It absolutely matters. What was your letter?
All right. So before we bring the jury out, let's talk about how we're going to proceed at this point. The state,
Sorry, I was busy yakking. I didn't even hear who they're calling next. Is it Craig?
Copy of that for Mr. Graham, once it's signed and filed.
yes. All right. So before we bring the jury out, let's talk about how we're going to proceed at this point. The state has made a motion to not broadcast or have recorded certain testimony. Mr. Dean, if you'll state the state's position on that.
So we're objecting to any recording, audio or video, and broadcasting of the testimony of Craig Weston and of Tim Weston should he testify. We're objecting under OCGA 15.1.10.1, which sets forth the multifactorial test for granting or denying media requests. In particular, we are relying on the first two factors: the nature of the particular proceeding at issue, that proceeding being just his or their testimony, and the second factor, the consent or objection of the parties or witnesses. He has objected to us, and so we're relaying that to the court. Also, the sixth factor, the impact upon due process and the truth-finding function of the judicial proceeding. We think that, given his concerns about recording and broadcasting, we think that the truth-seeking function of this criminal trial will be furthered by not doing that in the case of him and Tim Weston should he testify.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hilliard.
Your Honor, since we're just dealing with flat statements without any evidence to support them, my objection is the exact opposite of that. With the only two exceptions in the trial so far, one having to do with a minor child, which I think everyone agreed on, and the other one having to do with an agent who may or may not testify that we didn't want to have their identity revealed for reasons, okay, that are enumerated, and again, not a great objection to. We don't have that here, okay? Mr. Weston is a civilian.
Show his face.
A minor.
Show his face.
He's been granted use immunity. I'm sorry if the things that he's testifying about may be personally embarrassing to him, but I didn't call him as a witness, and the rules we've been playing under have been the same for everyone. I don't see, Mr. Dean baldly states, well, due process can be served by this. Well, I can baldly state that due process would not be served by it, and we're right back at the beginning of the analysis. So everyone in here has objected to the media coverage thus far, every opportunity we've been given. So I'm not saying this because I'm any great fan of having cameras in the courtroom, because I'm not, okay? I am saying this, though, that the rules that we've been playing by, every witness has had to come in here and testify so far, with only those two exceptions, have had to testify in front of the cameras. So I think Mr. Weston should have to as well. I'm sorry if he finds it embarrassing or he doesn't like it, but other than that, he has use immunity. So any potential legal ramifications are out the window at this point. So I think that that use immunity promotes due process and fairness more than anything. Other than that, we're just talking about his own personal embarrassment, and that's not one of the factors, Judge. So we object.
Mr. Dean, looking at considerations 1, 2, and 6, is there anything particularly about the nature of the particular proceeding at issue? What can you tell the court more about that in your objection?
This witness is likely going to be asked to touch on private sexual matters. It's one thing he is a private citizen. He is likely going to be asked to touch on private sexual matters. He's testifying under compulsion and under a grant of immunity, and might also be asked about perhaps about criminal activity
Immunity?
for which he will never be tried, and will therefore never be vetted in a court. And this is the same reason that the federal government doesn't name unindicted co-conspirators in indictments, because unindicted co-conspirators are never going to get a trial and an opportunity to flesh out the truth or falsity of the allegations against him. There's sort of a
That's true,
parallel
Shay.
thing going on here with him. And as to
Okay, Superman's making a great point. I was all with Sassy Pants on this one. Oh gosh, did you hear the knife in my heart just saying that I agreed with Sassy Pants? I do want to see his face, but yeah, but I don't know if I am with Superman on this one because his name's already out there. Anybody that wants to find this individual easily can. I don't know. I'm on the fence. We'll see what happens. We'll roll with the punches here.
here with him. And as to, so I think that's enough factually to state that, and that goes to the nature of the proceedings. As to the objection issue, I mean, I'm just proffering and stating in my place as an officer of the court that he objects, and he objects strongly.
And you cleared up a question I had in my mind. So,
May I say one more thing? I'm sorry.
you sure you
If not, that's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I said that.
what do you want to say, Mr. Dean?
I was just going to say that this idea that the court's decisions about recording or broadcasting the trial at large and the testimony of other witnesses, in that there ought to be some, there's like a principle of consistency that ought to control here, just seems to me to be totally at odds with the multifactorial, fact-specific, witness-specific tests set forth in the.
Are you saying that's what the court is doing?
No. That's what I took Mr. Hilliard to be urging the court to do, is to apply a uniform rule for all witnesses and all the subject matter of the trial. I just don't think that's what the code section calls for.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
I know you're about to go on, and
If
you
you
don't
want
you don't
If
need
you
to.
want.
You
Okay.
will,
Right.
you will, and I don't need you to.
I do have something to say about that. You asked about the nature of the proceedings, so this is kind of a different thing. He gave an answer to it. I'm going to see if I can summarize Mr. Dean's argument. We've hauled in a witness by compulsory process. We are offering this witness. We have given this witness immunity, and we've subpoenaed them into this murder trial. And now, because he feels some kind of way about being embarrassed, that we're going to change the rules for this witness, which is all what they've done. So I don't understand how you can create the problem, cement the problem, alleviate the problem with this particular witness, and then think that, I'm the one who's objecting to it, and I'm the bad guy, because I think this guy should play by the same rules that every other person they've done the exact same thing to has had to play by the entire trial. I don't see there's anything unique about the nature of this particular proceeding. I don't see there's anything about this particular witness that makes it relevant or necessary to turn the cameras off. And I don't say that because I want them on. I don't. I say that because I don't see a reason to carve out an exception for Mr. Weston. He's not that special. And that's the reason why I'm objecting to it.
Rules
Okay.
are here to
Okay.
guide us, and 15-110 is here to guide us with regards to videotaping and televising and recording. I do think there is a balancing test. There are several conditions that are listed, things that the court should consider and hear from all parties. All situations are a little bit different. And in taking this case in particular, and the state's objection, I'm going to grant I'm not going to require Mr. Weston to testify with the cameras on. I think that Mr. Dean gave an argument for, one, the nature and particular proceeding at issue that helps satisfy the court. He also stated condition two, but condition 6 I find is very persuasive. The impact upon due process and the truth finding function of the judicial proceeding. Given what the particular scenario is with this witness and some of the factors that play in, I am going to require that cameras not roll and that it not be recorded. Of course, the fact finders who are here will still be able to hear
What? What?
all of the evidence.
They're not even going to let us hear this testimony? This is some bullshit. Let me go back a little bit.
And that it not be recorded. Of course, the fact finders who are here will still be able to hear
Oh my
all of the
gosh.
evidence. They will be able to see him.
I
And
object.
anyone who's in the courtroom will be able to hear from him. This is still an open courtroom, although in my discretion, I am not going to allow this witness testimony to be broadcast.
This is some bullshit.
And so with that, is there anything else that we need to take up before we bring in the jury?
It's still open to
No,
the
you're on.
public technically, NJ,
And
because
you
like
need
Claus
Mr.
can
Hilliard,
hear
you
it.
wanted a copy of the order.
I have it right here, Judge. I did want it to be certified though, just so I can use it when Mr. Weston when the time comes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
Oh yeah, this will be the
Yes,
most
Grace.
requested document. This is going to be the first thing.
What I anticipate is Detective Lemons. Detective Lemons is going to be called next, and then after Detective, then Mr. Weston is going to be called. And I would ask that you cut the camera footage and recording at that time.
Just to clarify, that would be audio as well as.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, can we describe this testimony as reporters
Yeah.
talking about what's happened in the day or no?
This is an open courtroom. We're just not recording and broadcasting that portion.
Thank you. Just to follow up, I don't mean to be dark. So we're allowed to quote him. If we take direct quotes, that's fine.
Yes. All right. Please bring in the jury.
I am a little frustrated, y'all. I can't believe. Claus, we're going to need a recap. I hope she's in the courtroom today.
Jurors enter.
Yeah, if there's a Twitter thing. Yeah, she's smirking now. But don't worry, it's going to come out eventually, Leilani. People will get their hands on this testimony after the trial.
Thank you.
Oh, Grandma spotted her, so Claus is there. Hippie saw her too. Good deal.
All right. Please have a seat, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this is going a bit far. I didn't
think I
think.
said
I thought.
15, but I think it grew into an hour. So I
You
appreciate your
think?
patience. Honestly, we are not dancing and having a party while you guys are in the back. The work continues. I'm going to turn now to the state. You may call your next witness.
Marion Lemons.
It's gonna get out though, Nunya. That's the thing. As soon as the first person to request the court documents, it'll be out there, just like all of Wade Wilson's shit is out there.
The court and jury in the trial of this issue should give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
One more time for good measure.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you testified, feels like a long time ago now, about the defendant's October 5th interviews at Chatham County Police Headquarters, right?
Yes.
And over the course of that day, she disclosed 2 trips away from the residence on the night of October 4th, morning of October 5th.
Yes.
And on that day, what was the story as to the first trip, the earlier of the 2?
She described going to the Flacco's Tacos to meet up with a gentleman she knew as Red
To do what?
to pay back a drug front.
Over time, I guess by October 12th, in the interview with Special Agent Snyder and Special Agent Solomon that we watched more recently in time, did that story change?
Yes, it did.
How did it change?
It moved from meeting Red for a drug front at the Flacco's Tacos into meeting Red / Craig on Arkwright to buy cocaine and Percocets.
What do you mean by Red / Craig?
She told the interviewers that Red is Craig in that interview.
Okay, same person.
Yes.
Okay. As early as October 5th, you had thumbed through her phone, right?
Yes.
And on that day, did you at some point, did you see messages in her phone between her and a contact saved as Craig?
Correct.
When do you remember first seeing those messages?
I believe I mentioned them on October 5th to her.
Okay. And did you ask her a question about Craig that day?
I did.
What was the question that you asked her?
I think I asked her specifically who is Craig.
Did you ask her whether there was anything going? What did she say to that, if you remember?
I believe she referred to him as an older white male that was not Red.
And it was on the 12th that she said, actually, Craig and Red are the same person.
Yes.
And it's an African-American gentleman, right?
Yes.
Okay. On the 5th, you had seen messages between her and a contact saved as Craig, right? Day
Yes.
one. And did you ask her whether there was anything sexual going on between the two of them?
Yes, I did.
And what did she say about that?
I believe in that specific interview, I don't fully remember what she said.
Okay. At some point in the investigation, did she deny that, though?
Yes, she did.
Okay. You later received a copy of her cell phone extraction, correct?
Yes.
And did you select and export from that cell phone extraction all of her communications with the contact saved as Craig?
Yes.
Do you see in front of you State's Exhibit 91?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us what that is?
So this is an extraction report of all communications and anything that has to do with the user she has saved as Craig.
Your Honor, I would introduce this as State's Exhibit 91.
No objection, Judge.
Okay, submit it.
Now, does this exhibit show when she first saved Craig as a contact?
Yes, it does.
And what was that date?
On September 16th in 2022.
Okay, so that would have been how long before Quentin's disappearance? Like a little less than 3 weeks, maybe?
Correct.
Okay. In moving forward from that, is there a series of text message exchanges between the two of them leading up to October 4th?
Yes, text messages and phone calls.
Okay. And does this document include all of them?
Yes, it does.
Before we get into, reading individual ones and describing when they were sent and received and so forth,
What?
let me just ask you, can you kind of sum?
Okay, so we might not get to hear from Big Red today. Don't worry, we'll get our hands on the transcript or the audio eventually. But it sounds like we're going to hear some of these texts. So we get a little something, maybe. A little something.
Summarize what these communications show as far as what was going on with the two of them, between the two of them during, say, late September, early October?
So pretty much from when Leilani saved Craig into her phone, it appears that they began a sexual relationship and were scheduling meetups to meet and have sexual intercourse.
And where was it that they appear to be meeting?
At his place of residence.
And where is that?
I gotta put this on normal speed, sorry. I was like, oh, let me try to, nope, gotta hear this in real time. So, from the moment Leilani put Big Red, the lover dealer, into her phone, she's scheduling hookups.
Appears that they began a sexual relationship and were scheduling meetups to meet and have sexual intercourse.
And where was it that they appear to be meeting?
At his place of residence.
And where is that?
Off of Arkwright.
Okay. On Arkwright Road?
Yes.
Off of Highway 204?
Yes.
Okay. And I think you testified earlier that you identified Craig as Craig Weston of Arkwright Road?
Yes.
Okay. Let me draw your attention to a few of these and have you talk us through them, okay?
Okay.
Can you go to line 7?
Yes.
So this thing is like, we've had some of these bubble style exports. This is a table style, right?
Correct. Yes.
It's just a different way of pushing text messages out of the Cellbrite extraction.
Yes.
Okay. Line 7. Can you walk us through this message, including like the date and time and who sent it to whom and what it says?
Okay. So again, these are only from Craig and Leilani. So this one's from Craig saying WRY, which is commonly known as Where Are You, on September 25th at 2:24 a.m.
All right. So middle of the night.
Yeah.
All right. Line 8, can you just kind of walk through these from that one through line 16?
Okay. So the previous message was at 2:24 a.m. The next one is from Leilani at 2:25 that says, I'm home on Buckhalter. At 2:25 from Craig, hello. 2:26 a.m. from Leilani, I can come back out there. At 2:38 a.m. from Leilani, on the way. And then at 2:46 a.m., Leilani sends a video message. This is a thumbnail of the video that she sent, and it appears to be of a trailer from inside of a vehicle.
Now, you've been to Arkwright Road?
I have.
And you've seen the structures out there?
Yes.
Does this appear to show that she was present there at that time?
I believe it's the back part of Arkwright.
Okay. And that was at 2:46?
Correct.
So it looks like she's there at that point.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to line 13.
So at 2:48 a.m., Craig says, okay, 1 minute. And then it skips to 5:55 p.m., so several hours later.
That would be like 13 hours later or something
Yes.
like that? Okay.
Craig asked, you okay today? You man here.
And how did she respond to that?
At 6:54 p.m., she says, yeah, I'm okay. He's on his BS today, and I don't feel like arguing. And then in response at 6:58 p.m., Craig says, okay, well, was thinking about you.
All right. So is that set of messages that we described, does that appear to be the first visit by the defendant to Craig that we see reflected in this set of messages at least?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, I'd like to go forward to line 62 on page 5.
Okay.
And if you could just do the same thing for 62 through 76, going nice and slow with the times and everything.
Okay. So this is on September 26th at 11:59 p.m. from Leilani. On the way now, be there in about 12 to 14 minutes. At 12:04 a.m., Craig initiates a phone call and they speak for 53 seconds. At 12:05 a.m., Craig says, okay. At 12:06 a.m., Craig says, okay, I'm in back to.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to take notes. Was this on the 4th? Let me go back to when she starts reading. I apologize. I just want to get it accurate.
76, going nice and slow with the times and everything.
Okay. So this is on September 26th
September
at
26th.
11:59 p.m. from Leilani. On the way now, be there in about 12 to 14 minutes. At 12:04 a.m., Craig initiates a phone call and they speak for 53 seconds. At 12:05 a.m., Craig says, okay. At 12:06 a.m., Craig says, okay, I'm in back to my camper. Stay close to your left. My dog gonna try eat your car, but he won't.
And the next one?
At 12:16 a.m., Craig says hello. At 12:16 a.m., Leilani says, okay, I'm passing Quaco now. At 12:17 a.m., Leilani initiates a phone call for 19 seconds with Craig. And then at 12:21 a.m., Craig says door open. Then skipping to 1:22 a.m., the previous was at 12:21. Leilani says, "I home, I loved those hugs."
I'm home. I love those hugs.
Yep.
All right. So based on when she said she was passing Quaco Road on the way there, and when she says, "I'm home, I love those hugs," roughly how long does it appear that she spent at Craig's place that night?
Roughly 45 minutes.
Moving on to line 41, when is this message sent in relation to the last one we just read?
Yeah, so the last one was at 1:22, where she's saying, "I'm home, I loved those hugs." The following message is from Craig at 1:26 a.m. and it says, "Okay, not more than I did. I was about to grab that kitty one time."
What does she say to that?
In response, at 1:26, she said, "LMFAO, you most definitely could have!" Exclamation point. And then at
do you think people generally know what LMFAO means?
It's
Oh, we know what LMFAO means, but did he just say he wanted to grab the kitty one time?
not more than I did. I was about to grab that kitty one time.
Oh,
What does she say to that?
In response, at 1:26, she said, "LMFAO, you most definitely could have!" Exclamation point. And then at
do you think people generally know what LMFAO means?
It's laugh my fucking ass off, in case you didn't.
No. All right. 73. What's that? What does that one say?
73 is at 1:29 a.m. from Craig. "Shit, I sure wanted to, like I see how it looked, FR."
Try that one again. Sorry. Read it slowly.
oh, how it looked.
What date are we on?
9:27.
Oh,
Early morning hours of September 27th. Okay, go ahead with 73.
Yep, 73 at 1:29 a.m. "Shit, I sure wanted to, like to see how it looked, FR."
What does FR mean?
For real.
Okay. How does the defendant respond to that in line 74?
So 74 at 1:36 a.m. is a response from Leilani sending a video message to Craig of herself masturbating.
75.
75 is
What?
at 1:38. So after
What? Did she smirk? Did Leilani smirk at that? Hang on.
So 74 at 1:36 a.m. is a response from Leilani sending a video message to Craig of herself masturbating.
75.
75
Bitch, you
is
did
at
that.
1:38. So after the video
You did that.
message, Craig says, "Damn, you just made me hard as fuck. Thank you."
And 76.
76 is at 1:39 a.m. from Leilani. "Well, shit, I'm glad I did."
Moving on to 117. And this will be the last set that I'll ask you to read, okay? If you could take us through 117 through 131. Stop at 131, okay?
Okay. So it's on October 1st at 12:24 a.m. is the first message from Leilani. "Dealing with Danny flipping his shit as soon as I can leave here." Okay. So it's on October 1st at 12:24 a.m. is the first message from Leilani. "Dealing with Danny flipping his shit as soon as I can leave here, I'll let you know." Craig responds at 12:34 a.m. K. And then at 1:14 a.m. from Craig, "If you can't come out, it's okay." At 1:15 a.m. from Leilani, "I'm about to head that way, just probably can only stay for a couple hours though, is that okay?" Then at 1:22 a.m., Leilani says, heading to the car now. At 1:22 a.m., Leilani says, be there in about 20. At 1:25 a.m., Craig says, well, you want to park at rideshare.
What is rideshare?
It's pretty much just like an empty parking lot about a quarter mile from Arkwright. It's commonly known in that area as the rideshare.
Okay, go ahead.
At 1:26 a.m., Leilani says, yeah, I will. At 1:56 a.m., Leilani says, just pulled into the rideshare. At 2 a.m., they have a 2-second conversation over the phone. At 2 a.m., Craig says 2 min, which is 2 minutes. And then at 2:01, Leilani says, okay.
All right, so per those messages, it looks like by shortly after 2 a.m. they would have been together then.
Yes.
Okay. And the next message, 129.
So that one is at 3:23 a.m. The previous was at 2:01. Craig's
Almost like an hour and a half has passed or so.
yes,
Okay.
more than an hour. That was good as fuck. I'll take that anytime. FRI, no, I made you come for a long time.
That was from Craig to the defendant.
Yes.
All right, the next message.
That one's at 3:56 a.m. from Leilani. I would be down to do that again anytime.
131.
At 3:56 a.m., Leilani says, and yes, you did for a good ass min. And then the following message is at 11:59 p.m.
So how much time has passed at this point?
Well over 12 hours.
Okay, so this is like the next night.
Yes.
Okay.
What is the date?
It is 10:01. So at 11:59, Craig says, you okay? On 10:02 at 9:02 a.m., Leilani says, yes, I'm okay. She then responds, about to drive over there actually. At 9:46 a.m., Craig responds, damn, you was tired or I got rid of a lot of your stress. At 9:46, Craig says, LOL. At 9:47, Leilani says, a lot of stress was released. I need that sleep. At 9:54 a.m., Craig says, that's good shit. I was ready for round 2 last night, but it's okay. You needed that rest. You look well rested.
And then 140.
And then 140 is at 9:57 a.m. from Leilani. I'm still wiping the crust from my eyes.
All right. So these seem to show that over the week leading up to Quentin's disappearance, that the defendant was getting male attention from Craig like 3-4 times, something like that.
It would appear so, yes.
One moment, please, Your Honor. No further questions.
Mr. Hilliard?
I do have a few about State's Exhibit 91, Judge. Detective Lemons, let's talk about the text messages you didn't mention. Okay. I'll start on page 1. So the contact for Craig was added on September 16th, correct?
Yes.
That's the first time that this appears anywhere in here to the best of your knowledge and mine, correct?
Yes.
Right. Did you see anything to this number prior to that?
No.
Okay. So on the first page, instant message 6, if you would, did Mr. Dean ask you to read that one?
No, he didn't.
Okay. What does that one say? And who's it from and who's it to?
On 9:25 at 2:23 a.m., Leilani says, I needed a 50, but no one was there.
What is a 50 commonly referred to as? Is that a drug slang?
I believe it's just a number.
I needed a 50, but no one was there?
I don't know what she was intending there. I mean, I can assume it's drug lingo, but what exactly it is, I don't know.
Okay. Well, you seem to know what WRY meant, correct?
Because that's
And you're
text
currently
lingo,
stationed at
dumbass.
C&T, correct?
I am.
Okay. So, using your experience and your knowledge as an agent over at the counter narcotics team, when someone says they need a 50, what are they commonly referring to?
Transaction, asked and answered.
I'm going to allow Mr. Hilliard his line of questioning.
So my understanding is almost everyone has their own drug knowledge. Usually when I don't know something, I'll ask one of the other agents there. So right now I don't know what she's referring to.
All right. So, let's
Good
move
job,
on. Then.
Lemons.
Look at let me go back and just start from the beginning with this.
Nanya knows. I was typing out, anyone know what a 50 is? Nanya thinks it's a half a gram. Okay. 50 milligrams? Someone thinks? Of what? Could be 50 in drugs, $50, right, Hazel? She really threw him off.
Page 3, line 26.
His whole damn argument around her, going off on this drug, route, and she's just like, I don't know. I would have to ask, another detective. He's thrown off.
On page 3, line 26, who is that from and who is that to? And what does it say?
It is from Craig to Leilani, and it says, I'm going to be your first black guy, not that it matters.
And that was on September 26th.
Yes.
And at that point in time, that seems to imply at least that they had not done anything, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, and let's look at number 42, September 26th. Who's that from and who's that to and what time?
Percocet doesn't come in 50 milligrams. You could get 5-10 milligram pills maybe, but it doesn't come in 150 milligram pill.
Time is that?
You said 42?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That one's from Leilani. Y'all got perks or anything like that?
What do you think was meant by perks?
Percocet.
And number 43, what was the reply?
From Craig, no, I'll check around.
Okay. And number 52 at the bottom right there. Who's that from and who's that to?
That one is from Leilani to Craig.
And what's that asking for?
You got a half of tree.
And what is that referring to?
Believe that's marijuana.
Okay. And the instant message that y'all are referring to was, I believe Mr. Dean asked you about where it looks like, I guess they met at the ride share.
I think so, Nanya, that he's trying to imply she was just the dealer.
What day was that again?
I don't know.
think it was October 1st, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And does that seem to be when there was some sort of activity between the two of them?
Yes.
They don't have a 30 milligram Percocet. 10's the highest that you can get in a perk.
And on I think it's the last page, but I'm not mistaken. All right, here we go. It's like number 143 at the top of the last page. Who is that from and who is that to?
That is from Leilani to Craig.
And what's that saying on October 2nd?
About to head over there and grab his ass a 40 so he'll shut up.
Wow.
And that's to Craig, correct?
Yes.
All right. And on October 3rd at 3:30, who is that from and who is that to?
Which line?
Number 147.
That one is from Leilani to Craig.
And what does that one say?
Just sent 30 Danny coming in for it.
That's all the questions.
That's just,
have
I think,
for the
$30 for weed
All right.
or blow.
Can you redirect?
So she's not just sleeping with him, he's also involved in supplying her drugs.
Correct.
Isn't that exactly what we've been saying?
Yes.
I know, that's what he
talked about
walked us through.
The number of meetups that you can clearly see in these text messages and how long they seem to have lasted, right?
Yes.
On the night of October 4th, the night that we're concerned with your, was there any text message set up?
No.
Was there any text message communications with them at all?
No.
Between them at all, I should say?
No.
And how long did the GPS data establish that she was there for that night?
10 minutes.
And how does that relate and link to the previous visits that we've talked about?
I think the shortest one is 45 for their meetups.
So much shorter.
Yes.
No further.
She wasn't getting booty the night of the 4th. She was just getting the drugs. That's how I take that.
No further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, you may take your seat once again.
Let me check our Twitter post. I don't think we have an update.
State call its next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Craig Weston.
Okay, and at this point, this is where video.
So Shay and I found, well, Shay found it first. All the credit goes to her. This Kaylee Fedco seems to be the only one updating about it, but she's only given one update. I'll keep an eye on that and see if she updates anything else. What I think I'm gonna do, if you guys don't mind, since we can't hear this before, I'll probably log off and because I'm guessing they're gonna do this witness and then go to lunch. Who knows when we're gonna get back to court. So I think what I'll do right now, if no one minds, is I'd like to go back through that testimony since that's all we're gonna get to hear at this moment until maybe Claus will pop in here when they go to lunch. Or maybe she'll pop up on Allie's if someone wants to drop Allie's link and MJ's link. But I'd like to go back through that and commentate on it. I was trying not to interrupt it and so we could just like hear it lay out. But I do think that there was some important things to pick up on. You know what we should do first is find out when was the video, when was her suicide in the lake video? What day was that? That was just like day 2, wasn't it, y'all? I'm quickly scrolling through day 2, see, because okay, Detective Lemons was on the stand for part of day 2. Oh, maybe it was day 1. Let me see if the chat said anything. I thought it was shown in day 2 also, Mystery, but I didn't see it quickly swooping through. Yes, and if you wanna hop over to, Boone right now, please feel free to. If someone wants to grab, Bendy's link, that's you're not gonna offend us if you wanna hop over to Boone. You go do that. If those that wanna go follow Boone. I'm scrolling. I'll just show you guys what I'm doing. I'm just kinda quickly scanning through here, seeing if I can find the suicide video. I don't think it was this guy at all. That's I bet someone's gonna have a field day putting like this in chronological order once all the court documents are out. Okay, that's in the courtroom. Or in the interview room. Interview room. Look at how many breaks are here. Mm. Okay, it wasn't day 2. Let me go back and see if it was day 1, and then I'll jump to 3 if it's not on day 1. Let me hop back over here to the chat and see if you guys anybody knew for sure. It was August of 2022, just not sure the exact date. Was it August? I thought it was September for some reason. 8/22. Okay, so the oh, oh, we just randomly got audio in the how did that happen? They just played some audio in here.
On 40 to allow for enough time there and back. Okay.
Maybe I wonder where they're going.
Thank you, Williams. Okay, and with that, we'll be in recess until, yes, ma'am.
One issue, may the court dismiss the material witness signed for the witness yesterday?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Ms.
Craig
Parker.
Weston, to be
Very, very
specific.
important.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Just one thing. I have to go file objections to a PSR real quick on the lunch break. I'm a few minutes late just to tell you ahead of time. That will be why.
Oh, I understand. Somehow life goes on, doesn't it?
It
Still have
does,
requirements.
and federal court does not care what I'm doing over here.
So
Okay, maybe I'll keep that open just in case it pops up again. Okay. So the suicide crying video that Leilani did was August 22nd. And it sounds like first communication, or sorry, yeah, August 22nd of 22. I'm looking at my calendar. And it sounds like less than less than 4 weeks later, a month later, she is ready to get down with Big Red. A 50 is the Coke. We kind of wondered. Oh, it's on their pre-recorded videos. You're not a fan of nature. It's okay, Jeannie. You can stay in the bushes. I wish a 50 was an 8 ball. It's a half a gram. 100 is a gram. Then you advance to an 8 ball real quick. Huh. And congrats on your 14 years of sobriety. I don't know if it's Jean or Jeannie, but congrats on that. That is awesome. That you've been 14 years sober. Like seriously, that is amazing. Okay, I'm gonna go back through Lemon's testimony and we're gonna try to, I don't know, not necessarily break it down, but understand it a little
defendant's
better.
October 5th interviews. All right, you testified, feels like a long time ago now, about
No, we know you're not trying to flex. Like I'm so appreciative of those that are in the know and can, inform us of that stuff because sometimes Dr. Google doesn't give us the full deets. So I appreciate that. But we are very, very, very glad to hear that have been sober for 14 years. That's amazing. Right, Marie? If all the ones that were out there raging were in court today, we could get some personal notes. So all the ones that thought it was worth it to get arrested, demanding justice for Quentin to, have Leilani arrested. And now we have found out law enforcement was on top of it. They were doing all the footwork, which is what most of us were, saying, like, whoa, give them a second. They're doing what they need to do. But if even half of them were out in the courtroom today, we might know what was happening during Craig's testimony. But I digress.
now the defendant's October 5th interviews at Chatham County Police Headquarters, right?
Yes.
And over the course of that day, she disclosed 2 trips away from the residence on the night of October 4th, morning of October 5th.
Yes.
On that day, what was the story as to the first trip, the earlier of the 2?
She described going to the Flacco's Tacos to meet up with a gentleman she knew as Red.
To do what?
To pay back a drug front.
Over time, I guess.
So I just assumed that a drug front was, like they fronted her some drugs and she was paying it back. Am I correct in that assumption? And then I wanted to pause to fill Remy in. We do not get to hear Big Red's testimony. Now, I'm going back through, Detective Lemons reads us through some of the text, so you can stick around and hear some of the text between Big Red and Leilani, but they are not allowing the first argument was is they just didn't want his face shown. Well, freaking beautiful Judge Stokes took it a step farther and said, no face, no audio, no nothing. We get nothing of Big Red's testimony because he was granted immunity because of the drug dealings and stuff. But that frustrates me a little bit. But don't worry, eventually, later in the future, all that stuff will make it out there. Cammy, I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe that police are doing the absolute best that they can, and they have way more info than we know. They have more info than the parents know. That's the thing people forget in these cases, and I know I preach it, I know a lot of others preach it as well, is that they don't have to tell the family everything, and oftentimes they keep a lot of stuff that they're doing from the family for obvious reasons. I know, like, I've heard talking on that during Delphi, like, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that law enforcement's doing, whether right or wrong, depending on how you feel, that they don't even give to the family. So thinking that the family is fully in the know it's silly too. They just aren't because they have to protect the integrity of their investigation. I'm not gonna go back to the butter talk, Carol, I promise. She does look excited to see him. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It is a good time to touch on it, Cammy. Thank you.
It's by October 12th, in the interview with Special Agent Snyder and Special Agent Solomon that we watched.
I believe he will be protected on what he is speaking on. He's not protected as a dealer at all. If law enforcement are now interested in Red Craig, they can, they would have to go down whatever avenues to, secure an arrest or whatnot. But they can't use anything he says in court to do that. So I'm pretty sure that's the type of immunity they describe, pretty much.
More recently in time. Did that story change?
Yes, it did.
How did it change?
It moved from meeting for a drug front at the Flacco's Tacos into meeting Red/Craig on Arkwright to buy cocaine and Percocets.
What do you mean by Red/Craig?
She told the interviewers that Red is Craig in that interview.
Okay, same person.
Yes.
Okay. As early as October 5th, you had thumbed through her phone, right?
Yes.
And on that day, did you at some point, did you see messages in her phone between her and a contact saved as Craig?
Correct.
When do you remember first seeing those messages?
I believe I mentioned them on October 5th to her.
Okay.
Remember when they were playing through the interview on October 5th, you see Detective Lemons scrolling through Leilani's phone and scrolling through those messages, and she even asked who Craig was. So I remember that vividly.
And did you ask her a question about Craig that day?
I did.
What was the question that you asked her?
I think I asked her specifically who is Craig.
Did you ask her whether there was anything going? What did she say to that, if you remember?
I believe she referred to him as an older white male that was not red.
And it was on the.
Okay, MJ, if you're still listening, this is why we thought Craig was an older white male. Like, come to find out, he is not an older white male. All right.
The 12th that she said actually Craig and Red are the same person.
Yes.
And it's an African American gentleman, right?
Yes.
Okay. On the 5th, you had seen messages between her and a contact saved as Craig, right? Day
Yes.
one. And did you ask her whether there was anything sexual going on between the two of them?
Yes, I did.
And what did she say about that?
I believe in that specific interview, I don't fully remember what she said.
Okay. At some point in the investigation, did she deny that though?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
You later received a copy of her cell phone extraction, correct?
Yes.
And did you select and export from that cell phone extraction all of her communications with the contact saved as Craig?
Yes.
Do you see in front of you States Exhibit 91?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us what that is?
So this is an extraction report of all communications and anything that has to do with the user she has saved as Craig.
Your Honor, I would introduce this as States Exhibit 91.
Submit it.
I just wonder how he got the nickname
Now-
Red.
Does this exhibit show when she first saved Craig as a contact?
Yes, it does.
And what was that date?
On September 16th in 2022.
Okay, so that would have been how long before Quentin's disappearance? Like a little less than 3 weeks, maybe?
Correct.
Okay. In moving forward from that, is there a series of text messages exchanged?
So 3 weeks after her suicide video and 3 weeks before Quentin's death is when she adds Craig to her phone. That's crazy.
Text message exchanges between the two of them leading up to October 4th.
Yes, text messages and phone calls.
And does this document include all of them?
Yes, it does.
Get into, reading individual ones and describing when they were sent and received and so forth. Let me just ask you, can you kind of summarize what these communications show as far as what was going on with the two of them, between the two of them during, say, late September, early October?
So pretty much from when Leilani saved Craig into her phone, it appears that they began a sexual relationship and were scheduling meetups to meet and have sexual intercourse
And where was it that they appear to be meeting?
at his place of residence
And where is that?
off of Arkwright.
Okay. On Arkwright Road,
Yes.
off of Highway 204?
Yes.
Okay. And I think you testified earlier that you identified Craig.
Yeah, I love Shawshank Redemption too. That very well could be where he got the nickname from. Nunya, if you're listening, I still don't know what a red bone is.
You identified Craig as Craig Weston of Arkwright Road.
Yes.
Okay. Let me draw your attention to a few of these and have you talk us through them, okay?
Okay.
Can you go to line 7?
Yes.
So this thing is like, we've had some of these bubble style exports. This is a table style, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. It's just a different way of pushing text messages
Oh,
out of
okay.
the Cellbrite extraction.
Yes.
Okay. Line 7. Can you walk us through this message, including like the date and time and who sent it to whom and what it says?
Okay. So again, these are only from Craig and Leilani. So this one's from Craig saying WRY, which is commonly known as Where Are You, on September 25th at 2:24 a.m.
All right. So middle of the night.
Yeah.
All right. Line 8. Can you just kind of walk through these from that one through line 16?
Okay. So the previous message was at 2:24 a.m. The next one is from Leilani at 2:25 that says, I'm home on Buckhalter. At 2:25 from Craig, hello. 2:26 a.m. from Leilani, I can come back out there. At 2:38 a.m. from Leilani, on the way. And then at 2:46 a.m., Leilani sends a video message. This is a thumbnail of the video that she sent, and it appears to be of a trailer from inside of a vehicle.
Now, you've been to Arkwright Road?
I have.
And you've seen the structures out there?
Yes.
Does this appear to show that she was present there at that time?
I believe it's
Okay, Nanya sent me some pictures of what red bone black men are. And by the way, these are all some very fine men you picked out, Nanya. And I get what you're saying. Like there's a red undertone to their skin tone. Okay, so yeah, it could either be red from Shawshank Redemption, or maybe he has a red undertone to his skin. I was just like, red is it's a different name, different nickname. My daughter's best friend's nickname Red. We'll probably end up calling Crew Red, but that's obvious reasons of with the red hair.
Part of our grade.
Okay. And that was at 246.
Correct.
So it looks like she's there at that point.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to line 13.
So at 2:48 a.m., Craig says, okay, 1 minute. And then it skips to 5:55 p.m., so several hours later.
That would be like 13 hours later or something like
Yes.
that. Okay.
Craig asked, you okay today? You man here.
And how does she respond to that?
At 6:54 p.m., she says, yeah, I'm okay. He's on his BS today, and I don't feel like arguing. And then in response at 6:58 p.m., Craig says, okay, well, was thinking about you.
All right. So is that set of messages that we described, does that appear to be the first visit by the defendant to Craig that we see reflected in this set of messages at least?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, I'd like to go forward to line 62 on page 5.
Before we get into that, since this is a replay of commentary, I will show, was it Kate? Yeah, I didn't know if it was Kate or Steph B. Kate, I will show you. So these aren't specifically what she sent me, but this guy was one. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a very nice looking man. And this guy was one. No, this guy wasn't one. There was what am I clicking on? I can't find it. The one that was on here that was really nice looking isn't on this that I pulled up. But this guy was very, very, very enjoyable picture there. Just a little eye candy for you all. I know. Hello. Big Red from Bring It On. I can't with you. I just don't want to. I'd have to like go into Discord and take a screenshot of it. Let me see if I can pull it up without. No, I have to show my whole Discord. But enjoy this. This was definitely one of the men she showed me. And I get what she's saying about the red undertone to their skin.
Okay.
And if you could just do the same thing for 62 through 76, go nice and slow with the times and everything.
Okay. So this is on September 26th at 11:59 p.m. from Leilani. On the way now, be there in about 12 to 14 minutes. At 12:04 a.m., Craig initiates a phone call and they speak for 53 seconds. At 12:05 a.m., Craig says, okay. At 12:06 a.m., Craig says, okay, I'm in back to my camper. Stay close to your left. My dog gonna try eat your car, but he won't.
And the next one?
At 12:16 a.m., Craig says hello. At 12:16 a.m., Leilani says, okay, I'm passing Quaco now. At 12:17 a.m., Leilani initiates a phone call for 19 seconds with Craig. And then at 12:21 a.m., Craig says door open. Then skipping to 1:22 a.m., the previous was at 12:21. Leilani says, "I'm home. I loved those hugs."
I'm home. I love those hugs.
Yep.
All right. So based on when she said,
So someone mentioned it earlier in the chat, and I absolutely agree. One of the reasons that I don't think anybody was shocked that Leilani was out roaming around without her kids, it sounds like a repeated pattern. And that's another thing that we can take from this. You know, the defense is, trying to imply that Danny's the bad guy and Danny's the one out doing all the things. But what we actually learn is that Leilani, mother of 3, who should be home taking care of her kids or at least sleeping, no wonder she missed work all those times. She's out roaming in all hours of the night, and it's not an uncommon thing. That's what this kind of shows me.
she was passing Quaco Road on the way there, and when she says, I'm home, I love those hugs, roughly how long does it appear that she spent at Craig's place that night?
Roughly 45 minutes.
Moving on to line 41, when is this message sent in relation to the last one we just read?
Yep. So the last one was at 1:22, where she's saying, "I'm home. I loved those hugs." The following message is from Craig at 1:26 a.m. and it says, "Okay, not more than I did. I was about to grab that kitty one time."
What does she say to that?
In response, at 1:26, she said, "LMFAO, you most definitely could have!" Exclamation point. And then at
do you think people generally know what LMFAO means?
It's laugh my fucking ass off, in case you didn't.
No. 73, what's that? What does that one say?
73 is at 1:29 a.m. from Craig. "Shit, I sure wanted to, like I see how it looked, FR."
Try that one again, sorry. Read it slowly.
Yeah.
And before you do that, what date are we on?
9:27.
Early morning hours of September 27th. Okay, go ahead with 73.
Yeah, 73 at 1:29 a.m. "Shit, I sure wanted to, like to see how it looked, FR."
What does FR mean?
Listen, Nanya, sorry, I was over here looking to see if they updated anything in Twitter. What does the slang term mean, grab that kitty? I think it means exactly what they mean, although I think it's a weird slang term for it, because when you wanna do more than just grab it, I don't know. I know, yep, she absolutely tried to play him off as an older white guy that she wasn't interested in. He's not well. Oh. Can you send me one yet? I can look for it too, but I mean, it means what it means. Right? That's what it means, right? They didn't teach us that one in finishing school, none yet.
For real.
Okay. How does the defendant respond to that in line 74?
So 74 at 1:36 a.m. is a response from Leilani sending a video message to Craig of herself masturbating.
75?
Okay.
75.
Okay. By the way, that pause game right there. You haven't even slept with a dude. I have so many thoughts to this, y'all. So she's sending him pictures of her masturbating or video, whatever it was. They haven't even slept together, but does she have no shame? Is she not afraid of getting caught at all? By Danny. Like, she's over here crying about, like, Danny hides his phone under the pillow while I sleep. Well, she's fucking sending masturbation photos to Red Craig, the lover dealer. Flabbergasted. Yes, Hakab, we don't want any beating of the kitties to happen. That's for sure. Yes, and then Timmy so I can do that. I can't with her. Like, listen, I'm not trying to be judgy here, but you got 3 babies by 3 separate men, and you have a 4-month-old. Well, she would have been 3 months at this time. You have a 3-month-old, you're cheating on the latest baby daddy with your drug dealer and sending him masturbation videos. Like, when do you get to the point in your life where you just step back and look and be like, "I am on the wrong path right now. I'm on the wrong path." Well, he was her lover dealer. I don't know what else to call him. Gracious.
Is at 1:38, so after the video message, Craig says, "Damn, you just made me hard as fuck, thank you."
And 76.
76 is at 1:39 a.m. from Leilani. Well, shit, I'm glad I did.
Moving on to 117. And this will be the last set that I'll ask you to read, okay? If you could take us through 117 through 131. Stop at 131, okay?
Okay. So it's on October 1st at 12:24 a.m. is the first message from Leilani. "Dealing with Danny flipping his shit. As soon as I can leave here, I'll let you know." Craig responds at 12:34 a.m. K.
Wait a second.
And then
Yeah, but is this the same Craig Weston? He was indicted on murder charges at 17? Does anybody know if that's the same Craig Weston? I just decided to go Google it, and grand jury indicted Weston on felony murder but would he be out? This was in 2017. I'll keep digging. I don't know if that's the same one or not.
at 1:14 a.m. from Craig. "If you can't come out, it's okay." At 1:15 a.m. from Leilani. "I'm about to head that way, just probably can only stay for a couple hours though. Is that okay?" Then at 1:22 a.m., Leilani says, heading to the car now. At 1:22 a.m., Leilani says, "Be there in about 20." At 1:25 a.m., Craig says, "Well, you want to park at rideshare."
What is rideshare?
It's pretty much just like an empty parking lot about a quarter mile from Arkwright. It's commonly known in that area as the rideshare.
Okay, go ahead.
At 1:26 a.m., Leilani says, "Yeah, I will." At 1:56 a.m., Leilani says, "Just pulled into the rideshare." At 2 a.m., they have a 2-second conversation over the phone. At 2 a.m., Craig says 2 min, which is 2 minutes. And then at 2:01, Leilani says, "Okay."
All right, so per those messages, it looks like by shortly after 2 a.m. they would have been together then.
Yes.
Yeah, Nico, that's what I'm getting. I'm getting that while Danny slept with the 3 children at home, she would go out and play. And when she got back, and then notice, Sky took a bottle at 3, so you need to be on by 3 to prop up that bottle. Earl says, "If you think you wanna be out running the streets and sleeping around, that's your choice, but if that's the life you want, don't play at having a relationship and don't have children." I know. why I put them through. I'm digging a little more on Craig Weston, y'all. I don't know if that was the one. Um, I'm gonna keep digging and see if that's the one. They keep talking about, if somebody remembers, I know they're gonna say it again. What was the name of the road that he currently lives on? Because that'll help me narrow it down.
Okay. And the next message, 129.
So that one is at 3:23 a.m. The previous was at 2:01. Craig's,
Almost like an hour and a half has passed or so.
yes,
Okay.
more than an hour. That was good as fuck. I'll take that anytime. FRI, no, I made you come for a long time.
That was from Craig to the defendant.
Yes.
Made her
Next
come a
message.
long time.
That one's at 3:56 a.m. from Leilani. I would be down to do that again anytime.
131.
At 3:56 a.m., Leilani says, and yes, you did for a good ass min. And then the following message is at 11:59 p.m.
So how much time has passed at this point?
Well over 12 hours.
Okay, so this is like the next night.
Yes.
Okay.
What is the date?
It is 10:01. So at 11:59, Craig says, you okay? On 10:02 at 9:02 a.m., Leilani says, yes, I'm okay. She then responds, about to drive over there actually. At 9:46 a.m., Craig responds, damn, you was tired, or I got rid of a lot of your stress. At 9:46, Craig says, LOL. At 9:47, Leilani says, a lot of stress was released. I need that sleep. At 9:54 a.m., Craig says, that's good shit. I was ready for round 2 last night, but it's okay. You needed that rest. You look well rested.
And then 140.
And then 140 is at 9:57 a.m. from Leilani. I'm still wiping the crust from my eyes.
Ugh.
All right. So these seem to show that over the week leading up to Quentin's disappearance, that the defendant was getting male attention from Craig like 3-4 times, something like that.
It would appear so, yes.
One moment, please, Your Honor. No further questions.
Mr. Hilliard?
I do have a few.
I can't find anything else on his charges. Shay might be able to. She's a whiz at that. For those that weren't in here a minute ago, I found this. I don't know if it's the same Craig Weston at all, considering this was in 2017. He was indicted as a 17-year-old. That would be what, 7 years ago? So he'd be, I mean, around her age, he'd be around 24 now. But would you get out on felony murder that quick? I don't know. So I don't know if this is him or not. I don't feel bad showing this at all though, because it's you know, news article with somebody's face. I'm not saying this is the same Craig Weston, but I'm trying to find out if it is or not.
Detective Lemons, let's talk about the text messages you didn't mention. Okay. I'll start on page 1. So the contact for Craig was added on September 16th, correct?
Yes.
That's the first time that this appears anywhere in here to the best of your knowledge or in mine, correct?
Yes.
Right. Did you see anything to this number prior to that?
No.
Okay. So on the first page, instant message 6, if you would, did Mr. Dean ask you to read that one?
No, he didn't.
Okay. What does that one say? And who's it from and who's it to?
On 9:25 at 2:23 a.m., Leilani says, I needed a 50, but no one was there.
What is a 50 commonly referred to as?
We'd like to know too, sassy
Gang
pants.
slang?
I believe it's just a number.
I needed a 50? but no one was there?
I don't know what she was intending there. I mean, I can assume it's drug lingo, but what exactly it is, I don't know.
Okay. Well, you seem to know what WRY meant, correct?
Yes,
And you're currently stationed at C&T, correct?
I am.
Okay. So, using your experience and your knowledge as an agent over at the counter narcotics team, when someone says they need a 50, what are they commonly referring to?
I don't
And
know.
allow Mr. Hilliard his line of questioning.
Yep. So my understanding is almost everyone has their own drug knowledge. Usually when I don't know something, I'll ask one of the other agents there. So right now I don't know what she's referring to.
All right. So, let's move on then. Look at,
So this is another thing. It's that same Craig Weston, and I think it's that same mugshot. This was also in 2017. This is where they were arresting 13 men affiliated with the Gangster Disciples. Let me see. Craig Weston was arrested for murder. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Savannah, Chatham Metro Police. I will keep digging though. I was gonna see if there was another Weston on here, but I don't think there is. Okay. No, Cammy, you can't post links in here unless you're a mod. You can email it to me.
let me go back and just start from the beginning with this.
No, Pearl, there's no way that Crest comment was about sleep. I was like, bleh.
On page 3, line 26, who is that from and who is that to? And what does it say?
It is from Craig to Leilani, and it says, I'm going to be your first black guy, not that it matters.
And that was on September 26th.
Yes.
And at that point in time, that seems to imply at least that they had not.
Was Leilani going to be his first Hawaiian woman?
Yes.
Okay. So, and let's look at number 42, September 26th. Who's that from and who's that to and what time is that?
You said 42?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That one's from Leilani. Y'all got perks or anything like that?
What do you think was meant by perks?
Percocet.
And number 43, what was the reply?
From Craig, no, I'll check around.
Okay. And
This did not help Sassy Pants at all.
number 52 at the bottom right there. Who's that from and who's that to?
That one is from Leilani to Craig.
And what's that asking for?
You got a half of tree.
And what is that referring to?
Believe that's marijuana.
Okay. And
I'm looking it up, Ninya.
And the instant message that y'all are referring to was, I believe Mr. Dean asked you about where it looks like, I guess they met at the ride share. What day was that again? I think it was October 1st, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And does that seem to be when there was some sort of activity between the two of them?
Yes.
Mm. I don't know what that one's for either, Nanya.
And on
Yeah, I'll send it to Shay. She might have it. I can't find it anywhere else besides the document that you found it on, but I'll send it to Shay. She's better at that stuff.
All right, here we go. It's like number 143 at the top of the last page. Who is that from and who is that to?
That is from Leilani to Craig.
And what's that say?
Oh, let me clear this up. Yes, there is a white gentleman by the name of Craig Weston that lives in Savannah, Georgia. But considering his information has him going to aerospace school, I just got a sneaking suspicion, nothing to do with this one. And that was before I even knew this one was black. But yeah. Poor
About to
guy.
head over there and grab his ass a 40 so he'll shut up.
And that's to Craig, correct?
Yes.
All right. And on October 3rd at 3:30, who is that from and who is that to?
Which line?
Number 147.
That one is from Leilani to Craig.
And what does that one say?
Just sent 30 Danny coming in for it.
That's all the questions I have with regard to this exhibit, Judge. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hilliard.
This did not help at all.
So.
It didn't help
he's not
Sassy
just
Pants at
sleeping
all.
with him, he's also
Hard
involved in some
line,
minor
thank
drugs.
you.
Correct.
Isn't that exactly what we've been saying?
Yes.
We talked about the number of meetups that you can clearly see in these text messages and how long they seem to have lasted, right?
Yes.
On the night of October 4th, the night that we're concerned with your, was there any text message set up?
No.
Was there any text message communications with them at all?
No.
Between them at all, I should say?
No.
And how long did the GPS data establish that she was there for that night?
10 minutes.
And how does that relate in length to the previous visits that we've talked about?
I think the shortest one is 45 for their meetups.
So much shorter.
Yes.
No further questions.
No further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, you may take your seat once again.
Okay, that was it, guys. I'm still trying to find out if that one photo we found was the right Craig Weston. I found some other people, other Westons attached to that Arkwright Lane. Let me go back to my Intellius real quick and see what it pulls up. This trial's it is gonna go on for a month if she doesn't, um, chill with the brakes, but did you hear? I'm so sad we don't get to see Craig's, testimony. They're completely keeping it out. I think he's the 48-year-old, which would not make him the one we showed. But that doesn't make sense. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, so it is not the one we showed because, the Craig Weston that lives on Arkwright Lane is 48 years old. And that was not the individual that was charged with felonious murder. Does have oh, here I found distribution of cocaine. Hang on, let me take a screenshot of this and I'll send it over to my phone. It's you can't really see though, like it's such a blurry photo. It's hard to see the images of. Oh yeah, he's got a lot of drug charges. Distribution of cocaine, weed. Nice. He's a little over 6 feet tall. Three counts of possession of manufacturing, sale, distributing of marijuana. Is marijuana illegal in Georgia? Yeah, that's the only picture I can find of him, but it definitely is him because it's with the Arkwright Lane address. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll send it over to the laptop. I'm gonna try to brighten it up so we can see him a little better. It's really hard to. There we go. That helps some. It is currently illegal. Okay. That makes sense with that those charges. I tried to lighten the photo up the best I could because mugshots are not the best at all to see a person. And unfortunately, in lighting it, it kind of distorted his eyes a little bit. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. But it gives you an idea of what he looks like. This is Red Craig, lover dealer. Not what I was picturing. No, they're not gonna stream his testimony suit because, it's because he was a sexual liaison and he's getting immunity from his drug dealing. The prosecution didn't want his face shown, but the defense was like, "Hey, it should be." We were actually finally once agreeing with, Sassy Pants on the matter. Well, the judge agreed with the prosecution about not showing his face, but then she took it a step farther and said that the audio couldn't be recorded either. He is not wanted somewhere. Um, Based off of his intelligence report, he's not wanted. There he could have a warrant, but that goes with his immunity, like, he's, they're gonna bring him in to testify, they can't arrest him in the courthouse. Right, country. I mean, it took me a minute because there is another guy with the same name in Savannah, Georgia, who has felony charges, but this is all public information, not taken off of anything, this is just his public mugshot from this is from his cocaine charges in what year was this? Hang on, let me scroll back up to the courthouse website. These are from his charges in um this is actually his parole picture from 2008. So he would look quite a bit different now. He is older than I thought he was because he's currently 48. So in this picture, he would have been what? 16 years ago in this picture? Could he be an informant on other cases? I don't think so, because if he was an informant on other cases, I think they would have kept his name out of it entirely. It is an almost 20-year age gap, absolutely. He's 48 and she was 22, 20, well, 21, 22 at the time of all this. But I do think it's way older. I don't think there's an issue that it is a big age gap at all. One of my good friends in high school, her grandpa ended up marrying a chick that was 30 years her junior, and they were together an extreme well, until he passed, but, like, I don't think it's a problem that there's an age gap, but there's no denying that's a 20-year age gap. It's, very different from the men she, was with prior, very different, you know? All of them were her age. No, because we saw no, because I can see here that he is Timothy Weston's cousin, and Timothy Weston was the name on the Cash App that they used for Craig's cousin who got the Cash App from Leilani for the drugs. Yeah, but they're already gonna know it, that's my thing, like, they're already going to know that as soon as his name came out on day 1 of this trial, people knew who that was, especially the nickname. Red Craig was hooking up with Leilani? Yeah, the streets were already well aware. That's what I think, country. I think she had a pretty bad drug problem for sure. Too hard. I think it's completely fine to have an age gap, guys. I'm just saying, like, it's definitely, something to note of interest here. You think? I'm wondering I'm this whole like sexual liaison comment that they keep throwing out, I'm wondering if we're gonna learn throughout his testimony with her that there was, obviously offers of sex for drugs or something. I'm more curious to find out if there was communication after. Now, I know that based on the records they have, there wasn't, but, Leilani could have got a different phone or something. Oh, that's okay. That's okay, yep, I don't mind. I didn't see the one you sent. Oh, it's not there yet. Yeah, Claus is there. I also found I'm gonna hop off here because there's really nothing we can do until they come back with some video of something. But I am gonna drop you guys some links. Okay, it does look like WSAV is oops, is doing real-time updates on their website under this article. They were updating it in real time, but at 1:06, we know the court took a break for lunch. So maybe that is Edward Cullen that's in the back of the courthouse. So maybe he is updating on that. It's a live blog. And then let me grab this Twitter. Let me refresh it and see if she's posted anything yet. Oh, 4 minutes ago. Oh, here we go. Man, see, this is what I hate that with them not playing this, we wouldn't have known this. All right, let me share this Twitter feed. This is a reporter in the courtroom. She said 5 minutes ago, breaking news. The state just said on the record they plan to rest their case this week. It's likely we get a verdict next week. The original timeline was 2 to 3 weeks. Next week would take us into the third. Here we go. First recess of the day. Before lunch, the jury finally got to hear the text messages between Simon and former drug dealer. Why does it say Craig Martin? It's Craig Weston, but that's okay. They were very graphic. State says they proved their sexual relationship. They became admissible evidence last week. Immediately after Martin took the stand, it was a lot quicker than expected, did not speak to text messages, testified to not being at his Chatham County home to meet Simon on October 4th. Simon told detectives she met him there that night. Interesting. I don't know why she keeps calling him Martin, though. His name's Weston. But, so he's already off the stand? I will stick around for a minute then, because now remember on the live feed, I still got it going in the background. The live feed is 30 minutes behind. So she posted that 33 minutes ago. So they might pop into court. Oh yeah, here I can grab this link. Sorry guys. So we might actually get the court back on sometime soon. I know, so I'm like, why does she keep calling him Martin? We know his name's not Martin. Defense was holding cross for Lemon, so we have more to go. Yes. Sorry, Grandma, I teased you. I said we were getting out of here. Maybe, but here I'm shocked. It says there was no more text read. Immediately after Weston took the stand, it was a lot quicker than expected. Did not speak to text messages, testified to not being at his Chatham County home to meet Simon on October 4th. Simon told detectives she met him there that night. What do you guys make of that? Of Leilani lying again. And then just a few minutes ago, the state just said on the record they plan to arrest the case this week. So they should be back. We should be able to hear that soon once they come back to court. Oh, it says court is on lunch break until 2:10. That's right about now. I wonder if that little blip, remember? I had left it up and then we heard them, they randomly came back. I wonder if that's as long as he was on the stand. Like that tiny little portion, was that it? Right here. Let me go back to just before they go to break an hour ago. So Detective Lemons. I bet that was it, y'all. So the video stopped here. And he takes the stand for, let's count it. Sound. Not even 5 minutes. And then they blooped back in for a second. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? I bet that's all he was on the
1:40
stand.
to allow for enough time there and back. Okay.
Jury's exiting.
That was it. And then they've been on break. And I'll give it a couple more minutes to see if they come back now or not. I thought for sure that testimony would take a heck of a lot longer than 5 minutes. All that hoopla? Holy crap, they argued that for hours and hours and hours. It was a long ass minute, Nicole. Leilani told us it was a long ass minute. No, do you mean the time that they have spent the state's already rested in the Boone case. They rested after a day and a half. Allie brought up a great point last night. I think we're just so used to watching such long trials that we forget most of the time trials are quick. And you know, when you have the facts and the proof, the state can get through it pretty quickly. So I don't think that this has gone faster than I expected. It's kind of going at the pace I thought it would because it is a circumstantial evidence case. You don't say. Did you beg the defendant? Yep. Okay. No further questions. On break. That means for you guys. 2:10 for you guys, I believe. Oh, so they won't be back. Okay, yeah. So if they just got back from break, it's still gonna be, I don't know. It would still be another half an hour before we get anything. Yeah, Abby, some of these is so very hard. All right, well, I am going to hop off here then and take the doggies on a quick walk, grab a bite to eat. I will set my stream up for 2 Central, so about 45 minutes. We'll be a little bit behind, but that'll be okay. And I'll keep an eye on Court TV. So unless something changes, we'll be back here at 2 o'clock Central Time. That'd be 5 for you, Eastern. All right. I'll see you back after the break.